Coming live from Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn, New York. Got some big news. It's going down. Me versus Triple G, Madison Square Garden, March 18th. It's finally here. Sorry for the wait. Just had to straighten a little couple things out, but it's finally here. I'm excited. I'm ready to shock the world. BK, let's do it. Coming live from Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn, New York. Got some big news.
Listen, I'm gonna make a motherfucking emoji like this, look.
Gennady Golovkin production.
ThaBoxingvoice.com. All the guys want, I want what Mayweather got. I want what Mayweather got. You done bust your ass like Mayweather.
It was ball. Go fight.
My life has always been a fight. I sacrificed a lot to get to where I got to.
You don't think you're being overly critical to a guy that took a body shot and didn't go down?
That's no pressure. That's just my style. My style's to dominate.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of The Boxing Voice. I'm your host, Nes GTO, and today we have a jam-packed, very special show planned for you. Today we're going to be discussing the very big news that took place over the weekend. None other than Gennady Triple G Golovkin has made it official versus Daniel Miracle Man Jacobs. They're going to be having a big showdown in Madison Square Garden, March 18th. We also have to talk about Joe Smith knocking Bernard, the executioner Hopkins, through the ropes and out of the ring in a technical knockout victory. Bermane Stiverne and Alexander Povetkin, and the fact that Povetkin got a phenomenal knockout over one Johan Dunlopis that used to fight Deontay Wilder back in the day, but that was the old switcheroo, and I'm sure you guys don't know all the news, so we'll bring you the details as to why Bermane Stiverne was not in that fight and instead Dunlopis. We also have to tell you that Povetkin tested positive not once but twice in 1 year, the day before the actual fight with, well, actually Saturday itself, Bermane Stiverne pulled out of the fight because Povetkin tested positive. Also, we have to talk about Cuban standout Sullivan Barrera looking back to form, looking the way that we thought he would look when he was coming up. Taking out Vyacheslav Lionheart Chingonski Shabaransky in a slugfest for a version of the WBC USNBC light heavyweight title. And I can't forget to tell you about our special guest, none other than K2 promoter Tom Loeffler, the promoter of Triple G, the promoter of Roman Gonzalez, the promoter of Vladimir Klitschko, will be live on the show to discuss Gennady Golovkin versus Daniel Jacobs, and all your questions will be asked because this is the voice of the people. And he wants to let the people know a little bit of news. So if this is something you're interested in, something you think you want to talk about, well, then you need to stick around, hit that thumbs up button for this jam-packed show. Call that number if you want to be a part of this show, and that's 1-425-569-5241. And without further ado, let me head on over to the Sunshine State. Boxing MD, what's going on, brother? I know you want to sit in on this. We're going to head on over to the Sunshine State. Boxing MD, what's going on?
Is that a fair statement to make? You have to be honest with yourself. This is the boxing voice that gets not only the biggest names, but we get Tom Loeffler literally the day after or 2 days after announcing one of the biggest fights of the year. And this is a fight that I will be heading to New York City for. And also to mention Bernard Hopkins, before anybody criticizes anything, his actions in the ring, anything forward, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer and excellent fighter. But having said that, it is ironic that what he would consider a standard white guy knocked his ass out to end his career.
And before we get into MD's thoughts, we can't forget the guy that holds it all together.
There'll be nothing but smooth sailing.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Dang, last night was crazy. I honestly was not expecting a knockout to happen, particularly that late in the fight. I thought that if Joe Smith Jr. was going to get a knockout, it would have been in the first 4 rounds. That's the way that B-Hop would go out, though. I saw a lot of funny tweets about it, and I saw a lot of respectful tweets about it, and I can't wait to chop it up.
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously, you're only as good as your last fight, so there were some critical people, as there were very many people that were being showing admiration for all that Bernard Hopkins has done throughout his career. But we're going to go in order here at the Boxing Voice, and the first things up is Gennady Golovkin versus Daniel Jacobs. March 18th, signed and sealed, done deal. You critics, where's my gun at? Producer, hold me back. These disrespectful boxing fans, they're so fickle. Where's the guns? That's right. All you MDs out there that thought that Daniel Jacobs would not take this fight. You know, all you guys that thought he wouldn't take this fight.
Never said that. Never said that.
Money that said he would price himself out. You know, as the negotiations lingered, it was always Danny's fault. He's scared. Well, here we go. Now, I know that all the criticism is going to change, obviously, from he's scared to he's going to get massacred, which I can't even argue. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard to debate that Daniel Jacobs would be able to stand up to the power of Gennady Golovkin after watching him go down. I don't know. Producer, you could correct me if you feel like it. I mean, I don't think it's that important. I want to say he went down multiple times with Moro, or was it just once?
One time.
One time. I mean, one time too many, right? I mean, it's Sergio Mora. He's infamous for not having any power. You think of Sergio Mora, you think of Paulie Malignaggi's older brother or something. You know what I mean? Except he's Mexican. That being said, I guess the drama, the suspense in this fight, MD, is it how long can he last? Or you, as a true Gennady Golovkin fanatic, are you giving Daniel Jacobs a legitimate shot?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a fan of no man. I'm a fan of what he represents in the ring and the skill set that he brings. And does he have a chance? I think any human being has a chance in a ring against another human being. Having said that, I think he has about the same chance as David Lemieux. Now, I would say that maybe Danny Jacobs is a little quicker than David Lemieux. I would say that maybe David Lemieux hits a little harder, but I would also say that David Lemieux, although he was finishing his career, his chin might be a little better. So I think that this is one of these fights where Golovkin is not going to stand there, take unnecessary shots, and choose to box smartly, which we have seen him do before.
Now, I'm going to need you to elaborate. Why do you feel that Lemieux hits harder than Daniel Jacobs? Lemieux, correct me if I'm wrong, does he hold a world-class knockout? Because Peter Quillin was a world champion, and the knockout that Danny Jacobs scored over Peter Quillin has to be at least rated as a world-class, top-tier, A level, A minus, B. I don't know. What do you rank Peter Quillin? He hasn't fought since then, but at that time, the perception of Quillin was that he was the other top-tier heavyweight outside of Gennady Golovkin. So when Jacobs knocked him out, he obviously acquired his position.
Correct. And I think if you the Peter Quillin win was very impressive, and I think there's a lot of factors that went into the Peter Quillin win. I think Peter Quillin was checked out. I'm taking nothing away from that win. But I think if you look at their body of work to assess their power, I think that what David Lemieux did against Gabe Rosado, who is a tough guy, but like how many people finished Gabe Rosado? Only a few. Gennady Golovkin and David. Correct, but that was based on cuts. It wasn't a knockout. It wasn't the same way that he stopped them, and you know that, Ness. I'm talking about the power alone.
Holds a win for the guy. You're basically saying that Rosado is such a win is a great win for Lemieux.
Never said that it was a great win. I'm saying that I'm talking about solely the power, right? The way that he reacted from those punches, right? So I also think that dropping Hassan Endam the way that he did to Hassan Endam, who got a very, very big knockout win this weekend against.
He did.
Alfonso Blanco.
Alonzo Blanco.
Alfonso Blanco. So whatever. You're probably better with the Spanish names than I am. But Having said that, I think that if you assess their career, I think one punch power, David Lemieux has a little better chance. Now, I think his power is very similar to someone like Curtis Stevens. You know, it's just David Lemieux in that sense, but it's hard to evaluate. But I think Danny Jacobs is quicker, so I will give him that credit for.
Well, again, Golovkin fans, they love to overrate Lemieux. So just for my casual listeners out there that fall victim to that, Lemieux did not knock out Ndam, who is considered a top-tier middleweight. Lemieux did stop Gabriel Rosado and Fernando Guerrero, two guys that Peter Quillin also stopped. Outside of that,
but it's also important to establish again that Peter Quillin stopped Gabriel Rosado on cuts. Is that not fair? Is that not fair to say?
TKO is TKO. They're both TKO.
We're talking just about power, Ness. We could talk about boxing pedigree or whatever you want to.
Okay, but this is my thing. If Lemieux has all the power that you speak of, understand how his resume goes. Jose Miguel Torres, who he did stop. Fernando Guerrero, who he did stop. Now, we all know that Grady's Brewer was the first one to knock out Fernando Guerrero. Fernando Guerrero, after that knockout, proved that he had no chin, none, and that he was too small for middleweight, but wasn't able to really get down to 154. Because when he got knocked out by Brewer, you got to understand, you have to watch these fights. When he got knocked out by Brewer was his attempt to go down to 54. So he was already a small middleweight, and he knew it. He tried to go down, and struggling to get to 54, he got knocked out. So he decided, I'm going back to 60 and continue to get knocked out by everyone that he fought. So Lemieux knocking him out, means nothing, right? Rosado, same thing. Certain guys do stop Rosado. Is it on cuts? Yeah, but if that's the case, well, then Gennady Golovkin stopped him on cuts because that looked like Nightmare on Elm Street with all the blood, right? So, again, going down his resume, please don't interrupt me just so you can see. Fernando Guerrero, he stopped. Next fight was Gabriel Rosado. He stopped. Two guys that I just proved are already getting stopped by anybody. Not anybody, but somebody at least B-level. And Dom, who we know is a good boxer, he did not stop, but Quillin did stop this dude. Check that, producer, but I know Quillin dropped him 6 times in that fight. So we don't know if he stopped him, and Stephen will find out, but he dropped him 6 times. So again, Lemieux did not stop him. Then he fought Gennady Golovkin and got himself stopped. So he came back versus Tapia, who we all know to be a little slow. Let's be real. We seen what happened to Tapia. He's never been the same since he got stopped by James Kirkland. So Lemieux doing what Kirkland did years ago, 6 pounds below, it means nothing. So then after that fight, he got in with Christian Fabian Rios, who he could not stop. Come on, let's be real. Who has this man stopped?
Who's never been stopped either, the Christian Rios dude. He's never been stopped.
Listen, Gennady Golovkin has real power. Okay? That's real power. And like I said, Quillin's knockouts, and he shows real power because Quillin has acquired on Guerrero, for instance. He had like 5-6 knockdowns. On Ndam, another 6 knockdowns. That's showing power. There you go. Talk to us, producer. Clear it all up.
Okay. All right. So Peter Quillin had 6 knockdowns against Hassan Ndam, twice in each round, the 4th, 6th, and 12th. And then when he fought Guerrero, he knocked Guerrero down twice, once in the 2nd and in the 7th.
There you go.
Gabe Rosado was down in the 2nd round, and then Rosado obviously was stopped because of the cut that he suffered in the 9th. But the fight went until the 10th.
But let's not get stuck on Quillin, because at the end of the day, Quillin is irrelevant. The man that's going to be getting in the ring is Jacobs. And the original question was like, how much of a shot? Is this a fight where we're like, boxing fans are asking themselves, how many rounds does Jacob last?
I think most likely, but I don't think that necessarily means it's a bad fight as far as just aesthetically pleasing and entertaining, because I think that Jacobs is talented enough to make some flurries entertaining. But I think that Golovkin is much more diverse than a lot of people think, which means that he is not just a power puncher and a brawler. He could fight anywhere. He could dictate the pace of the fight no matter what he wants. And I don't think that Daniel Jacobs will come forward and give him the pressure that, say, Kell Brook gave him, which caused him issues at some points. But again, Kell Brook is a welterweight. maybe quicker than some of these guys, but he doesn't have the power to hurt Golovkin, which we've seen. So I think that Daniel Jacobs will be trying to fight off the back foot. And I think that any fighter who tries to box Golovkin off the back foot, at least at 160, will lose, because Golovkin is a very, very, very good jabber.
Now, as a, again, fan of Golovkin, or a, I don't know, defender, how do you defend the fight doctors of the world that are going to say, this is a cherry pick? We seen Daniel Jacobs get knocked out by Dimitri Prague 10 years ago, or however many years ago it was.
Well, to be honest, I'm kind of offended that you bring up the fight doctor's name, because he's someone who just has a one-sided agenda. What?
Yeah, but guys like the fight doctor. There are a big demographic of people who believe that Golovkin has
racists. Fight doctor's in a category of his own.
Let fight doctor out of your mind. I'm sorry I used the wrong analogy. I apologize to you and all the listeners. Guys that feel that Triple G hasn't faced someone on his level, and facing Jacobs, who's been down and knocked out and shown a vulnerable chin, is a cherry pick, essentially. I'm not saying that. I think Jacobs knows how I feel about him. I think that he's an excellent boxer. I hope that he could withstand the power, and it will be a very interesting fight. But there is a demographic of people out there that believe that he doesn't have a chin and that this is an easy fight.
Well, if you want to take in consideration right now that Canelo is not currently at middleweight, right? He remains one of two guys that Golovkin needs to fight to clear out the entire division, and the other guy being Billy Joe Saunders. So I think also the fact that this fight was mandated because the WBA has a, like the junior champion, I don't know, a regular and super. This fight was mandated by the WBA, which gives really both guys an opportunity to fight on a big fight. I mean, this is a pretty big fight in New York City. So, I mean, if you want to be negative about this fight, that's your choice. And if you think it's not competitive, which to an extent I agree, it's just because the level of pedigree, power, skill that Golovkin brings to the ring, and I don't think you could fault him for that.
I hope that if Jacobs goes down the way that he did in the Mora fight, he's able to then get up the way that he did in the Mora fight, so he can make it interesting. Listen, the fight is signed, sealed, and delivered. My question to our audience is, which one are you going to? Even if you can't afford it, hypothetically, we want to know. Even if you can't afford it, hypothetically, we want to know. Are you traveling for Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, or are you traveling for Daniel Jacobs, Gennady Golovkin, Madison Square Garden, the mecca of boxing? Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to switch topics now to a beautiful...
Well, establish again, I'm sorry, that one might be in Vegas and one might be in New York. That's a big deal.
Yeah, well, Gennady Golovkin, Daniel Jacobs is signed, sealed, and delivered, guaranteed to be in New York City, Madison Square Garden. Keith Thurman and, Danny Garcia, nothing is official yet. Lou DiBella, the promoter, who works closely with Al Heyman, does have the Barclays Center locked. Dan Rafael, who works for ESPN, has said that Lou has told him that, the Barclays Center is locked March 4th for the Thurman Garcia, but that has still not been made official.
As well as Danny Garcia complaining about taxes.
As well as Danny.
Who is the A side in that fight? Who is the A side in that fight?
On the Noriega podcast, the rapper Noriega, Champs and Drinks. Shout out to Andre Diacono, who put us on that. Now, I want to switch topics, obviously, to a Rocky-like story. A blue collar. I mean, could it get any more boxing with Joe Smith Jr. being a, he's in the local union. I mean, he's actually a union worker. He puts on the hard hat. He still has the job. And it's a little sad that Bernard Hopkins made $800,000 and Joe Smith Jr. made $140,000. But obviously, being able to do what not even Sergey Kovalev, the Crusher, was able to do, hopefully, Joe Smith Jr. now kind of raises his pay grade. And speaking of raising, I want to point your attention to the thumbs up. It's absolutely free. You just press it, and we can actually raise those thumbs up to match the amount of people watching. That would be awesome. So you should go ahead and get that done and applaud yourself if you've already done it. So speaking of Joe Smith, you know, when you think of Bernard Hopkins, you know how he can obviously lullaby any fighter to sleep. It didn't work with Kovalev. And at times it doesn't work for many, for some rather, but it has been an effective style for many. And he was able to do it to guys like Pavlik, you know, Jermaine Taylor, John Pascal. I mean, he's clowned quite a few world-class fighters. But what no one outside of really Kovalev, because Kawasaki beat him with his own style, but no one has really ever consistently put pressure on Hopkins. And that is what Joe Smith Jr. was able to do yesterday, but he took a lot of right hands from a 51-year-old man. So I am questioning whether or not he's ready for the upper echelon of this division, since we're going to be talking about Sullivan Barrera, and he had such a great win on HBO Latino the night before. Maybe that's a good matchup main events might want to get a couple of other light heavyweights back in action live on HBO in front of the eyes of the fans, so that they can build up a possible opponent for Ward or Kovalev on their comebacks if they don't go directly into rematches. But Joe Smith Jr., wonderful job keeping the pressure on Hopkins. He landed an overhand right that ultimately started the danger for Hopkins, finishing it up with numerous, you know, left hooks and right hooks, until ultimately one left hook sent them flying out the ropes. I couldn't believe it. Listen, Hopkins went down head first too. You know, it was like, and he didn't know where he was at. And I hope that the next day, right? Like, I don't know. Last night, from all I can find, he was still saying that he was pushed out the ring, MD. I'm sure now, you know, you've been able to watch it quite a few times. What's your assessment of Joe Smith Jr. Knocking Hopkins through the ropes and out of the ring?
Well, yes, I think we're both hungry for something, and I think we both should take it. Let's go ahead and take it.
Well, that's true. We did both pick. You're right. Thank you. Even without Steven, look how honest this guy is. We did both pick Bernard Hopkins, so Sunday is Crow Day, ladies and gentlemen, and we must take some.
And there's a lot of factors that went into this pick, and I think another factor that went into this pick, which makes it another reason it should to be happy for Joe Smith Jr., is it's been reported by multiple sources that Joe Smith Jr. had to sign up for VADA testing, whereas Bernard Hopkins at 51 years old did not have to submit to VADA testing, which is very odd, because you either make both guys do the same testing, or you make neither do the same one. But
well, you know what also could have happened? I think maybe Hopkins, knowing this was his final fight, did a Canelo and refused to do VADA.
Yep.
But
while the construction worker union worker,
the construction worker does it because he needs to keep the sanctioning and the ranking. Remember, he's got the silver title, so that makes him pretty soon a mandatory for Adonis Stevens very soon. Well, and remember, now that the WBC at the convention mandated that Adonis must fight someone by February, who knows if Joe Smith Jr. could get lucky? He's already done business with Al Heyman.
Yeah, so yeah, for sure. And he earned that knockout, because early in the fight, at least the first 2 or 3 rounds, he was in control, landing big body shots, big shots. And there's a point in the fight where maybe Bernard Hopkins got a few rounds in there. Maybe it was like the 4th round, and maybe it was like the 6th round. But I would think Joe Smith, although he seemed to be tiring a little bit, was relentless in the pressure. And yes, I think he is a limited fighter in the sense that he's not as quick or as the same level of boxing pedigree as an all-time legend in Bernard Hopkins. But I think at that age and that power, Bernard Hopkins wasn't able to handle it. And let's be clear, you could look at that knockout any angle you want to. Those clean punches that landed. Clean punches that landed by a standard white boy. And the reason I bring up that thing by a standard white boy is because,
well, it's common.
No.
The word that he used.
Common, exactly. And he was even being disrespectful to Joe Smith up into the fight.
Honest, he was building up the fight. He's got to build up the fight because he's not a Gennady Golovkin.
But okay, correct. But when you get knocked the fuck out the ring by that standard white boy, you kind of look like a little bit of an idiot, to be honest.
Common. The word he used was common, white boy. He said, "You're common, I'm special."
Yeah, and he also said that there's no way that a white athlete could compete with my black athlete pedigree. And listen, I know what he's saying. He's 52 years old, but my whole thing is that the disrespect that he's shown to fighters over the years because of that, I think is ironic that this guy ended his career. That's all I have to say about that. And make no mistake about it, that the choice of this as his last fight, he could have picked a powder puff opponent that had no power. But I do give him credit for taking a legitimate threat, the guy who came the fight and he won. And he brighter pastures for him next. But you know, the choice of him fighting Joe Smith Jr. was him. He said it. He went out like a soldier by picking him. But his talk after the ring, to me, did not seem like a soldier. And I don't use that word to be mocking him. He used that phrase in himself.
Now, how much does Joe Smith Jr.'s stock rise? Because like I said, even with this performance, I'm not rushing to put him in with anyone above the level of a Sullivan Barrera just yet. I'd like to see him take care of Barrera. I think Barrera is slow and basic enough that fight may be good, but slick and fast. Well, not slick, but definitely might just be more technical.
Barrera slick.
I think that he's slow though. I think, man, watching that shot.
I don't know compared to Joe Smith though, unfortunately.
Exactly. And also Barrera is straighter with his punches. Joe Smith is wider with his punches. So that would be an interesting fight, but I don't think that Joe Smith is ready for anything above that. Like, I don't know who's above that other than Ward and Kovalev.
Well, here's the thing. I think that he got the shot against against Bernard Hopkins because he had that upset win against Hon 4. I think somehow if the Andre Ward Kovalev rematch doesn't get made, I could definitely see Kovalev picking him as an opponent. I could see it. Now, I think Kovalev beats him, but I think that he is legitimate, that he deserves a real payday now. Because to be honest, I strongly even believe, maybe I have to do my assessment, but not only did I think he got knockout of the year last night, he could have also got fighter of the year last night because those two upset wins are huge, especially the way that he did it.
Now, Smith has options. Obviously, with the ranking in the WBC, he could sit around and try and get a Adonis Stevenson fight. And yesterday on HBO, Max Kellerman, for whatever reason, pitched him a softball, lobbed it to him, and he said, "Hey, what about you and Shawnee Monahan in a New York City local brawl?" And he was like, yeah, whatever. Even Monahan responded on his Instagram and how, they should do it. I'm going to go back to New Jersey really quick and get his thoughts since he just jumped in.
Yeah, I just want to say I saw fight two.
Stay focused. Stay working my dad.
So it's fight two.
If he comes to fight, then I'm going to look for him.
I saw fight two.
I think you're accurate.
Yes, what's up? The Boxing Voice, MD, super producer, Steven, Nestor Gibbs, of course. I want to jump right into the only fight that I watched this weekend, Bernard Hopkins versus Joe Smith Jr. Of course, I'll jump right into the disrespect of Bernard Hopkins. I learned to like him after the Trinidad stuff, when he was extremely disrespectful. So that's his style. So you shouldn't expect anything different. He came in as the executioner. He was the alien against Sergey Kovalev about a year and a half ago. I too gave Bernard Hopkins the win in my head. On Thursday, I wasn't here, but I was rooting for Bernard Hopkins. I thought he was really special. Yesterday, Joe Smith Jr. Knocked him out of the ring. So he's the special one now. And as far as him going to Joe Smith Jr. that is going into as a fighter of the year. He does have 2 upsets, but Bernard Hopkins yesterday looked like 52 years old, right or wrong. To me, he looked like the old dude, the neighbor that just is in shape. So his stock doesn't go up extremely like Roy Jones said. He got to go in there like a Shawnee or maybe a Fonfora rematch.
Wait. Do you even know Shawnee Monahan?
I don't. I heard his name. I Googled him and I'm like, who is that? You know, and every fighter gets that tough one, that easy challenge.
Do you know who Donovan George is?
I don't know who that is either.
That's his biggest win.
Who's Shawnee?
My thing is this, yo. If you are Joe Smith Jr., you just knocked out Andres Fonfora, right?
Right.
Who got a big ass stoppage win over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., the son of a legend, okay? Then you go in and you knock out a fucking legend. I don't give a fuck how old he is. No one has ever knocked out B-Hop, let alone hit him through the ropes like he was a golf ball, okay?
He pushed him, yo. Nah, he did knock him out.
So talk to me.
Push him out with clean punches.
Hey, I just wanted to make a quick correction about something that Casual had said earlier, and just for something for everyone to remember going forward. Bernard Hopkins' fight last night was his first fight in 2 years. His last fight was in November 2014.
Yeah, against Kovalev.
Right. So it wasn't just a year and a half ago or like a year and 9 months, whatever. It was over 2 years. It was 2 years and 1 month.
Yeah,
so you gotta remember that not only is he old, he's coming off an extremely long layoff.
2014.
Yeah. So as much as I like Joe Smith Jr. coming forward, to get like a knockout or fighter of the year, I don't think he's gonna be able to do it with Fonfara and an old off the couch Hopkins.
Right. And Roy Jones said it best. You just,
you guys are haters.
I'm not a hater. Joe Smith.
Nobody ever knocked him out.
No one never knocked him out.
Nobody ever fought him. Nobody ever fought him 2 years after inactivity.
I don't think that
nobody ever put him through the ropes and out the ring either.
No one ever fought him at 52.
Like, when Canelo knocked out Baldomir, that still got a lot of tension around the boxing world because he was the first to do it. Although he was past his prime and moving up.
Canelo knocked out Khan, and we were excited, and we all knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, but Khan's been knocked out. I was making a better point with Baldomir, but okay.
So,
and I'm just making a point that we just love knockouts. It don't matter. We just love.
Not only do we like knockouts, we like a guy getting knocked out outside the fucking ropes.
But yesterday he fell outside the ropes. He fell off the ring into the.
No, he didn't fall. He got fucking projected with punches.
Right. So he got projected and launched. He launched. He got launched. But the funny thing is that no one knows that 20-second rule. Like it's WWF. You got 20 seconds to get in the ring. I didn't know. I thought they were just gonna.
It didn't even matter because he went head first. So
yeah, he's limping. And
I don't even know if his ankle was fucked up. To be honest,
How do you hurt your ankle when your head lands first?
Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that a pay-per-view fight that a lot of us saw was with Chad Dawson, where he did some fuckery. Even Chad Dawson called him out that he ain't no gangster. It was probably the highlight of the whole shitty card when Chad Dawson called him out. But Bernard Hopkins, I mean, he seems like he always has an excuse. I hate to fucking say that. He always has an excuse. Okay, he's a great fighter, but lately in his later half of his career, I mean, he's been full of fucking shit.
Listen, did you hear
the interview with Max Kellerman? Just I'm asking that.
What is it?
Did you hear his interview with Max Kellerman?
Yes, I did.
And you're gonna tell me that guy's not full of shit?
I like Bernard Hopkins. The alien was better to me, and the executioner early. I don't think that Joe Smith Jr. would have done what he did yesterday 10 years ago. But you know, Bernard Hopkins just old. He pushed himself to the very last moment of his age to become a good fighter. And I thought he would win. But it didn't happen that way. He looked old, man. He was not full of shit.
All I'm saying is I'm not going to not give Joe Smith Jr. credit. I'm giving him the utmost credit because he knocked him through the ropes. I don't care about the 2-year layoff. None of that.
So who should he fight next? Shawnee? Or
hell no.
That's the point that I'm trying to make, but y'all don't let me finish. Like after doing what he did, like after beating Fonfora and beating Hopkins the way that no one has, he only made 140 for Hopkins. How the fuck is Shawnee Monahan ain't gonna get him 300,000? So it don't make no sense to go backwards. Is all I'm trying to say. Like he's been Monahan hasn't fought one person on the level of this guy's resume, not one.
So you giving him a chance against Kovalev?
No, Enrique. What I'm saying is, if he goes to Monahan, it has to be monetarily
sensible.
Exactly.
And it wouldn't be. And let's just talk about how they.
It's a sidestep. That definitely ain't a step in the right direction.
And let's just look how the eye test matches up between the two, right? I would say that maybe Monahan has slightly better technical boxing, but I'll tell you straight up that Joe Smith hits way harder. His power is real.
Now, understand this, right? They're probably both on the same level. Maybe Monahan might be better. But what I'm saying is, because Joe Smith stepped in the gauntlet, he deserves that carrot at the end of the string. And the carrot is always in front. It's never to the side, is all I'm saying. Let's get on to someone that I'm still going to be high on. And I'm not going to do all the ball licking that HBO was doing, telling you how Tobias Mchunu, how do you pronounce it? Is it Mchunu?
Oh, yeah.
No, I think it's Mchunu. So I don't know, whatever. The point is, I'm not going to tell you that he was awkward, because let's just get that out the way. The HBO commentary, I don't know what's going on. I mean, is it me, or were they doing a little bit of like fluffing? Because
it continued into the main event, but it started there for sure.
In your opinion, though, does your eye tell you that Mchunu is awkward?
I think that sometimes when someone's that compact, it's hard to land clean punches. But I was not overly impressed of Usyk. I thought that he's the way he fights, I think he's open to get countered. And I think that if he fights at heavyweight that way, he's going to get knocked the fuck out, because you cannot fight that way at heavyweight, especially only weighing 209 pounds.
No, when they were talking about him moving up to heavyweight, obviously it's going to take dozens of years for that to happen, because he wasn't putting away Mchunu fast enough for me, for a guy that's considering already the heavyweight division. You know, and obviously we've seen guys like Steve Cunningham have some levels of success, and Evander Holyfield, and, you know, Roy for that matter. Different guys have been able to go up to heavyweight and have some type of success. David Haye won a title at one point at heavyweight, moving up from cruiserweight. So I'm not saying that, you know, his name is escaping me. What is his name? Oh, yeah, Olandir, what's his last name? Usyk. I'm not saying that he won't make it to heavyweight. I question how successful.
Alexander. You're thinking
I thought it was Alexander. Because
whatever. It's a Russian version of the American version Alexander. That's all that matters.
Yeah. So Usyk, anyway, regardless of all of that, regardless of how much HBO wanted to make it seem like because this guy wasn't looking as special as we think he is, he's still special, and it's all the other guys' fault who's actually just standing there waiting to be hit. I still thought he did good. I mean, to see a guy 200 plus pounds throwing that many shots that far in, deep into the fight, you know, what do you make it to, like the 6th round or something, 7th round, and he's still throwing, you know, multiple, doubling up on the jab, tripling at times, still giving those angles. And that is why I said he resembles Lomachenko. Obviously, now watching him versus Mchunu, some people might be slighted or feel disrespected by me saying that, but I still see it. I see the way that he pivots, the way that he creates angles, and he ends up on opposite sides of his opponent. I'm just wondering about the power. You know, I think that Mchunu was knocked out more on tiredness. MD, am I wrong? Was it fatigue, or did he land clean enough shots for it to be an official knockout?
It did go to the 9th round.
Yeah, it was fatigue, and I think a lot of the main difference between someone like Lomachenko and Usyk is, obviously I think Lomachenko's quicker, but you have to factor in the size, obviously. But I think it's weird when Usyk throws like combinations, like he'll throw a 4-punch combination, and where Lomachenko will throw, he'll throw like 1, 2 soft one, and then this third one will be a fucking strong uppercut, and then he'll come with the fourth straight or fifth. He'll literally throw 4 soft punches. It's weird. And then he'll back up. Where Lomachenko mixes up the hard and soft shots. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, there was times that he would throw a combination and it would serve no purpose.
Well, he was doing the same thing. He was definitely mixing up the speed, and you obviously heard HBO fluffing up the fact that he was varying the speed on his punches. Listen, if you're watching this on YouTube, I know this must get redundant and repetitive, whatever, but I feel like I have to consistently remind you guys to hit that thumbs up button. We're trying to get the views to equate the number of thumbs up, and that means we have to get them up. So obviously you didn't even see this one, right, Enrique?
I started to. I just couldn't get into it, and I did notice the whole Usyk. Yeah, he's gonna go up to the heavyweight, and he's a monster, but Mchunu, his style is awkward, and blah blah blah. I didn't even pay attention to it, be honest.
I ain't even find Mchunu awkward. I mean, the dude was right there. Was he short? Yeah. Did he duck? Maybe. But was James Ali Bashir, who we know and have had on this show, have interviewed him in person, obviously, when Emanuel Stewart was on this show multiple times, rest in peace to him. He gave us the introduction to James Ali Bashir, who was his second at the time, and now obviously is the head trainer of Usyk. You could hear him in the corner saying, "Put your guard up, son, and walk this fucking guy down." So Usyk, he's only got 11 fights with this win. So again, we got to give him tremendous amounts of credit, because guys like Cunningham or others that have faced Mchunu, which were actually not Cunningham, but Makabu faced Mchunu, they faced them further along in their career. Usyk to be doing this in 11 fights is still good, and he still knocked them out. And I'm not 100% sure that anyone else has any. Oh yeah, actually he did lose 3 times. His last
He's
3
been stopped twice.
His last 3 fights have been by knockout, poor Mchunu. Yeah. But they are in between though. Makabu stopped them back in 2015. He did at least was able to get a win, and then get stopped by Usyk.
Listen, Usyk may be very good. I just think that this is an example of being force-fed, someone who HBO is maybe exaggerating his level of current talent or current boxing, because I don't think Usyk's a bad opponent. I just don't necessarily think that he's the level in which they want us to believe he is at this point, which is being competitive eventually at heavyweight. It's hard for me to see that at this moment.
What's even worse for me is that these guys have to make 199 pounds. So then they're able to gain weight again. So they're coming into the ring like 200 and something. So essentially you're a fucking more in shape heavyweight than the heavyweights. Like, you're a dude that's in very good shape, but you're still technically a heavyweight on fight night, and you're not producing heavyweight like knockouts. You see, David Haye was explosive at cruiserweight. His knockouts were huge. Evander, same thing. His speed, his combinations, big. Those are cruiserweights that we're always going to remember. Like, I don't see that with Usyk, even though he has all that combination punching, all those angles. I don't see that raw power, because essentially, again, you're a more in shape heavyweight. Like, I don't fucking get it. They should be killing people in the cruiserweight division, but it's always boxing in that division.
I think he could get, like, I think right now, obviously he would have time to put on muscle and put on punching power. But I think right now, some of the guys at the higher heavyweight division, even someone like who might necessarily not be at the pinnacle, but I think someone like Joseph Parker would steamroll him right now, just because I don't think that he punches.
But I don't even think it's fair to talk about him. I mean, just because the HBO, I mean, he's only got.
I'm just saying what HBO is saying, but I feel you.
I tell you this right now. I think that I'd give him a shot, even though there's a lot of people that feel that Ruiz probably beat Parker. I'd give Usyk a shot versus Ruiz based on the height and he has too much activity and movement.
I wouldn't.
You're crazy. You seen the amount of fucking movement that Usyk presents? Anyway, we spent too much time on him. 11-0. He's got the WBO. He beat Golovkin. Now he gets him a win over Mchunu. Keep your eye on this guy. He only will get better. At the end of the day, this is only his 11th fight. So now we got to speak about the good, the bad. No, we spoke about the good. which was Daniel Jacobs and Gennady Golovkin being able to resolve their differences and make that fight before the purse bid that was scheduled to happen Monday. Speaking of Jacobs and Golovkin, we're going to have the promoter of Golovkin, Tom Loeffler, here on the show in about another 14 minutes. Steven, keep your eyes open for the co-producer so we could get Tom Loeffler on here nice and early without any mistakes. So we spoke about the good, right? The good was Joe Smith Jr., underdog story, coming out on top, knocking out a legend. Usyk, same thing. Immigrant coming over here, world champion with just 11 fights and now defending, But we got to talk about some of the bad. I didn't choose to find out every single detail that there was to know about the situation with Alexander Povetkin. I did receive information from Stiverne and his camp as to why they pulled out from the fight with Alexander Povetkin. But MD, I want to get basically your immediate reaction. How is it that you received the news, and what exactly was it that you heard right after I give this information here? Bermane Stiverne's official statement. The former World Boxing Council, WBC, obviously heavyweight champion Bermane Stiverne, who's 25-2 with 1 draw, 21 KOs, has elected not to face the number 1 ranked contender Alexander Povetkin. 30-1 with no draws, 22 wins by KO, due to Povetkin testing positive on Saturday for a banned substance, Ostarine, and the World Boxing Council withdrew their recognition. So once the WBC said, "Oh, you tested positive twice in 1 year, man, we're not even sanctioning this fight no more," that meant that regardless if Bermane beat Povetkin and went on with the fight, he would not be the mandatory for Deontay Wilder, which was the reason. Now, I'm going to say this before we get caught up in the steroid usage, the banned substance, Povetkin being a cheater, not being a cheater, he should be banned, he should be kicked out for life. I think that I'm not even going to say what I think. I'm going to ask you guys, what do you think? Did Bermane Stiverne do the right thing by electing not to fight, ultimately losing out on close to $1.8 million? He was guaranteed 1.4. So he was guaranteed $1,425,000, plus he was guaranteed $336,000 for the first time that Povetkin tested positive. And he elected not to fight, so he didn't get none of that. Plus, he went all the way out to Russia. So I don't know. What are your guys? Obviously, I asked MD first. So MD, now that you have that, I guess I could give you. Should I give you the quote? Let me give you the quote. Why not? Right? He says, "There's no reason to fight if the WBC won't sanction the bout. I'm very disappointed in the actions of Povetkin. I've been training for months to be victorious. To wake up the day of the fight, have breakfast, take a nap, and wake up to find out he tested positive is the worst possible situation. I'm headed back home to Vegas. Hopefully, the WBC will install me as the mandatory challenger to face the current WBC heavyweight champion, Deontay Wilder. I want my opportunity to fight the world title, for the world title again. That was my whole reason to come to Russia, was to earn that opportunity." The winner of Povetkin Stiverne was contested for the WBC interim heavyweight title that would have become the mandatory challenger, like I said, for Deontay Wilder, which was declared previously by the WBC. So now you have all the information.
Well, I don't like the reason that Stiverne gave not to fight him, because if Stiverne said, look, he tested positive for essentially it's just a derivative of a steroid, which is like literally a muscle building agent, that I don't want, this is my life. I'm a boxer. I could be injured. I don't necessarily agree that the WBC was the best reason, but I don't know exactly what Stiverne tested positive for, but he definitely tested positive for something else, which I'm not saying at all, I guess positive tests are equal, but it just sucks because for his aspect, it's like you live in somewhat of a glass house. Now, not all glass houses are equal, but he's not innocent. And I know so that's my whole thing, but it's just odd because I don't think Stiverne deserves a shot at Wilder anytime soon because he hasn't done shit really to deserve it. So it's hard to say, but I don't know. I mean, is it worth it $1 million?
Well, he would have done something had he fought and beat Povetkin.
Yeah, but I think that's a tall order. And you saw what happened to Dune Hoppus. Like,
yeah, but again, you said he got popped with a muscle building agent, and he goes in there and he knocks out Dune Hoppus.
Exactly, and then I think that should have been that should have been it. That he didn't give that reason. He did not give that reason.
I question every single knockout, and you know the sad part is Thursday I'm sitting here like, yo, you gotta favor Povetkin because he's knocking out the upper echelon heavyweights. He's the one knocking them out outside of Joshua and Wilder. So you got to respect this guy. But now he keeps getting popped for things that help you build strength, muscle, stamina. It's like, yo, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, and is this VADA testing?
Done in terms of, yes, this was VADA testing.
Okay, so everybody who thinks that their European testing is better, here's another top heavyweight testing positive in VADA testing. So
please, because you're gonna open up a can of worms. I've seen people on Twitter and on Povetkin's Instagram and stuff saying things like, actually, his own team blames VADA for being here in America. He said the pesky American testing, keeps doing this. One day before the fight, they let us know about the positive. Like, when does it matter when they let you know? You're dirty. You're dirty. What are you going to do? If they let you know a week ago, what you was going to do? You're dirty then. It didn't matter. Like, I don't understand the way that people are trying to justify.
I guess it would have been convenient to let them know. I could argue that, right?
Convenient in the sense that what? If you cancel a fight a week before or the day of, it's the same shit. Well, I guess not. I guess you could give people. I mean, I guess you could cancel and people won't actually come to the venue.
Realistically, shouldn't have.
They paid for the tickets anyway.
If you fail a drug test, you shouldn't be sanctioned to fight.
It wasn't sanctioned. Who sanctioned the fight?
By the state? No, you shouldn't be sanctioned by the state. Listen, if I fight in the state of Nevada, I have to be sanctioned, and I'm fighting for a title. I'm sanctioned by the WBC.
You're talking about the commission. The commission,
yeah, sanctioned by the commission.
Yeah, so, whatever Russian commission they were in, brother.
They shouldn't have. And I know Russia is different.
We're talking about Ivan Drago right now.
Exactly. And I'm sorry, like you. This is a second, but I'm definitely for it. If you legitimately test positive 3 times, and I don't know if you tested positive 3 times, I only know about 2. I'm okay with you never being able to fight again in boxing.
Listen, something needs to be done. I'm waiting to see what the WBC is going to do. They were lenient the first time, and then he presented some evidence. A lot of people are saying that somehow he was what is the word? Not expunged, exempted or something for the first one, but exonerated. But the second one now is like, he's red-handed. So I don't know what the WBC is going to do, man. Who knows? Who knows? All I know is I want to continue to see VADA be involved in more and more fights. I want to continue to see our listeners, our audience that's out there that sits with us all the time here on the Boxing Voice, hitting that thumbs up. Look, we just got retweeted by Gennady Golovkin and his publicists themselves, where they're retweeting that we're going to be having the promoter of Gennady Golovkin, Tom Loeffler, the man that put all this together to get you this fight in Madison Square Garden, the Mecca of boxing, bringing Gennady back. This is going to be another 20-something thousand tickets sold. And not only that, you're going to get to see MD. He's making a trip, ladies and gentlemen. Talking about making a trip, and I'm not talking about Dunlopis when he made the trip to the canvas, but Shabaransky, who made multiple trips to the canvas, and Barrera, who proves to the world that Ward obviously does have some sort of skill. If he was able to make Barrera look like that, and Barrera was able to make Shabaransky, Mr. Lionheart himself, Chingonski as well. I mean, he's got a double nickname, is Lionheart Chingonski, look the way he did. But I will say this. Watching Chingonski, this is like my 2.5 time, He looks so basic. He has no lateral movement, no hip, no waist movement. No, he's just straight up, man. Straight up, straight come forward.
The footwork, man, is basic as fuck.
Yo, whoa, man, whoa. Like, you know, and it kind of sucks right now where the Europeans are booming, right? Like, he looks like and Golden Boy signed them too. Like, but he looks like one of the worst, unfortunately. Like, he doesn't look like Kovalev. He doesn't look like Gennady. He doesn't look like Ivan Heatroff. He doesn't look like Sergey Derevchenko. He doesn't look like Lomachenko. He doesn't look anybody who resembles a Chenko for that sense.
Well, I mean, just like people use the term European boxer. Not all European boxers are created equal, just like not all quote unquote slick black boxers are created equal. So I think it's important to look at the attributes of each fighter from his respected origin and his fighting style to really give an assessment. And I thought Barrera just looked so much quicker. His footwork was so much better. He was able to move in and out of range to land the punches. And you got to give credit also to the sparring he probably got with Golovkin, because Golovkin fights bigger guys in sparring. So,
well, he didn't get any sparring with Golovkin because he went to Miami to train. Remember, he stopped training with Abel after that fight. He wasn't happy.
Oh, well, maybe that's a good point. So I take that back and Ness corrects me. Give a coin to Ness.
Yep. I don't need any coins, but I'll take them.
It's not often you're right, so.
No, man. But listen, let me ask you before we open up these phone lines. Remember that number 1-425-569-5241. We're going to try and get up one caller before we get to Tom Loeffler at 8 o'clock. So tell a friend, share that show, and hit that thumbs up button for bringing you one of the world's biggest promoters with one of the world's biggest attractions on his stable, Gennady Triple G Golovkin, who will be taking on Daniel Jacobs March 18th live at the Madison Square Garden, the Mecca of boxing. So yeah, Barrera, my last question about that to you, MD, is I felt like he looks basic. He was doing the 1-2 and the occasional left hook here and there, but
Barrera, or you mean Shabransky?
No, Barrera as well. I mean, Shabransky was even more basic.
I think he's a little more basic. I think that Barrera is a decent opponent. Remember, how many fights does Barrera have? Not that many, right? So, he faced Ward pretty green. He at least showed that he could belong in the same ring as Ward. Obviously, Andre Ward beat him and dropped him with left hook. So, but Andre Ward just beat Kovalev on. I obviously thought Kovalev won that fight, but I think you're being too hard on Barrera for calling him basic. I think he's a good opponent. I think he's a good fighter.
I don't mean that in a belittling way or trying to demean him in any way. I'm just saying basic in the sense that he throws a 1-2. I only see like a 1-2. The 1-2.
That's Sullivan Barrera you speaking of?
Yeah, and then in the occasional left hook. But it's
when you're fighting someone like Shabransky who's there to be hit, that's all you need to throw.
I get it. So I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yes, sir.
Well, it is broke if he's only doing the 1-2.
Nah,
I just
talking about.
We've seen him in there with someone on the level, obviously, of Andre Ward, and we've seen him in there with someone on the level of Shabransky. And
you say that
use the same styles is what I'm saying, and you see it didn't work with Ward, and it did with this guy because it was levels beneath. So I'm saying he should be trying to add little nuances to his games. Listen, let's open up the phone lines. Steven, you know what time it is. Ladies and gentlemen, that number 1-425-569-5241. Press that number 1 if you want to talk. Only press it one time. Voice your opinion on the Voice of the People hotline. We are going to be having Tom Loeffler on the show. Steven?
Okay, everybody, that time of the show again where we, right now it's coming around Christmas time. We want to give thanks, be thankful for our family that we have and these fine folks over at El Camino are a member of the Boxing Voice family. So thank you.
Okay. I wanted to address something, but I had to walk away. And they had to do with Povetkin. I didn't even know that Povetkin and Stiverne was going to fight. That wasn't promoted big at all in the States until I saw
it was promoted. Yeah.
Jesus. Well, not on my radar, not on my timeline. The people I follow on Instagram.
Well, you got to show up to all the shows, and you would know.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to
that would have been that's a big fight for me. I'm like, wow, I've been interested. But then seeing that Povetkin is positive, I don't blame Stiverne for stepping out. If he decided to fight him, I would, I would agree with that too. But stepping out, he's using that a pad, a performance enhancement. So yeah, more power, more stamina makes it a dangerous fight. You can possibly get into a coma, right? So yeah, I don't blame him for stepping out. Disappointment. Povetkin should be fined and have to pay those fees. That Deontay Wilder commercial he had, that was his demon. That wasn't Wilder, that was his demon, the pad chasing him.
Yeah, that high budget one, right?
Yeah,
you're such a hater. Listen, let's get to these phone lines, man, because you guys don't want to let me.
I could hit on a cheater now, so.
El Camino Electrical Services, who have over 15 years of commercial electrical experience, servicing the whole Silicon Valley and the entire San Francisco Peninsula. Visit us at our website, elcaminoelectricalservices.com, for more information.
Is that Doomsday on the commercial?
Let's go to Blackface. Talk to me, brother.
Good evening, Blackface.
Yeah, respect to everyone listening in the past, present, or future. Joe Smith Jr., Fight of the Year contender, if you ask me. They've got, before this year, I've never heard of the guy at all. But now he's coming off 2 decent victories. They'll probably throw him to the Lions now, I reckon. They should, in theory, given the victories that he's had, he shouldn't be fighting. And if I was promoting him, he wouldn't be fighting anybody next year. I'll just, put him in there with some Mickey Mouse fighters to, promote him, feed him some easy opponents. But he'll probably get they'll probably throw him Stevenson before, within the next year or so.
But Blackface, the longer you wait, the less luster your name has after that win.
Yeah, I know, but given how he's got 2 wins completely out of nowhere. I don't really know how good he really is, to be honest with you. But I would just he's an American fighter, not many of those come around really. So I'll just milk him now for the next year personally. Reckon he's just disrespecting the sport at this point. He's a piece of shit. That guy who was fighting that other opponent, what's his name, Do Hopkins or whatever his name is. He wasn't even wearing boxing boots. He was just wearing fucking trainers or something, or sneakers or whatever you call them during the fight. He needs to just needs to leave the sport at this point.
Really? He really wasn't wearing boxing shoes on that? I didn't really see that.
Go watch it. Go watch it again. He wasn't even wearing boxing boots. So what the fuck is this guy doing?
So do you give Joe Smith a polish, a real good polish, because he knocked out Bernard Hopkins?
I don't understand what you mean by polish.
MD just say, after this win, if he fights 2 bums back to back, he loses luster. What luster did he gain off of Bernard Hopkins? Besides, it's a knockout.
Besides knocking out Bernard Hopkins with the ropes.
He did knock him out, but it was an old man. He looked like an old man. It wasn't he just looked like an old man, to be honest.
Yeah, but he still goes down on his resume.
His name still is Bernard Hopkins.
When you box rep Bernard Hopkins, he has 1 loss by KO, and that's to Joe Smith Jr.
He got knocked.
Exactly. Well, yeah, that's my call, man. Money is no longer the root of all evil. Attention is.
Tension or attention?
I don't know. I think he said attention is. Money is so.
I wish he said pension, because pension is fucking up our economy, but it's all right.
Money is the root of all evil. Oh, he said money is no longer the root of all evil. Attention is.
No, but pensions are,
I like that one.
Yeah. All right. So, Steven, talk to me. Is Mr. Tom Loeffler, the promoter of Gennady Triple G Golovkin, is he on yet? Are we ready? Where's Monster Piece? Talk to me. Let me go out to Australia while we wait. Alex, talk to me.
Hey, boys. How's it going? Great topics today. I really agree with Blackface on that one. Povetkin's a piece of shit. This is a sport where people can die. People get brutally injured. taking any form of PED or drug, and twice in a row. It's just unbelievable. I think ridiculous. He should be banned for life, I think. But really excited the Jacobs Golovkin fight got announced. It is one of the better tests for Golovkin, but I think anyone who knows it, I would say Golovkin's a level or two above Jacobs. I think Jacobs does have a shot because he does have that power, and he's got some speed and skill too. But I think Golovkin's just levels above him. And I think Golovkin needs a better test. I don't know where he's going to get it around those divisions. Maybe Canelo. But what was the other topic?
Joe Smith Jr. fighting Bernard Hopkins and defeating him.
Amazing, eh? And I think I'm really disappointed in Hopkins taking away credit from Joe Smith Jr. saying, "Oh, I was pushed." First, he said he was pushed. Man, if you're copping those clean punches from Joe, like we saw in the replay, the slow-mo that he was copping big punches. I mean, come on, like, you know, why are you saying you got pushed? You clearly felt the punches that threw you through the ropes. Like, yeah, so that's my call.
Hey, caller, Alex, do you remember the Chad Dawson conundrum that happened?
I do. It was like, go ahead.
Was it a butt? Was it something about a butt? No,
he injured his shoulder. It's the same bullshit where he got thrown down.
Yeah. Hopkins went to do a clinch, and Chad dipped his shoulder and lifted him, scooped him up.
He kind of tossed
him.
him.
Hold on, I want to try to go to Monster Piece right now. She might have Tom Loeffler on. Monster, are you there?
I am here.
And do you have Mr. Loeffler? Hello.
I'm on the show.
This is big, the best present for everybody, for TV, for my fans, for everybody, for boxing.
Mr. Loeffler, how are you doing, Tom? I just want to thank you so much. You made me feel like such a special man this month, reaching out to me twice about this interview. I'm excited to have you on the show for all our listeners because, believe me, all of them seem to be Gennady Golovkin fans. You've stolen the shine from Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia, who were alleged to be at the Barclays Center. Now that you've placed this fight in the Mecca of boxing on March 18th, obviously for all of the boxing fans and the internet trolls that, you know, end up on the forums, there was a lot of problems in the negotiations. So we want to know, obviously you can't tell us any details, but just how smooth was it? Because there was a purse bid that was expected to happen Monday, but somehow you were able to get it together before that Monday. How'd it go?
That's true, Ness. Everything that you said is true. The purse bid was scheduled for 11 o'clock tomorrow morning in Panama. I actually had my plane ticket already reserved, but as I was telling everyone, you know, even though there really wasn't any details to update, I always all the discussions and negotiations that I had with Al, you know, every indication was that you know, Danny Jacobs wants to fight, and there's a way that we'll figure out a way to make the fight happen without going to the first bid. So that we finalized it yesterday, and luckily we were able to announce it, and it's just been a huge reaction ever since we announced it. I mean, it's clearly you know, Gennady is the top middleweight in the sport right now, and Danny has proven that he's number two right behind him, and I think it's the biggest challenge for both of their careers.
Hey, Tom, this is the co-host, Boxing MD. There was rumors that supposedly that they were trying to go to purse bid, thus trying somehow to get Golovkin to vacate his belt because he has an exclusive with HBO. Under any circumstance, would Golovkin drop a belt to, I guess, avoid conflicts with a TV contract?
Well, he does have an exclusive contract with HBO. HBO has been very significant partner in building Gennady. It's really since he made his debut on HBO in September 2012 against Proxa is when everything started taking off for him, especially here in the United States. And you know, but as I mentioned, the discussions I had with Al were that both sides didn't want to go to the first bid. We always felt that it was more productive, more beneficial for the promotion itself. To work together and to work out a deal that's fair for both sides. that's what we wound up doing. I think it'll wind up, if this goes the way we think it should, it'll wind up being the biggest payday for both fighters, and those are the type of promotions that we try to do in the sport, just to make the sport better and to create the biggest type of events we can for the fans.
Now, Tom, obviously the rumor was that one of the snags was Jacobs wanting to fight into Barkley. Regardless if that was true or not, what would be the difference between Barclays and Madison Square Garden for Team Golovkin? Is there any? I mean, New York's New York, or is it not? Obviously there's more nostalgia in Madison Square Garden. Is it that?
There's more nostalgia, but also just like with HBO, the Garden has been a very good partner in helping to promote Gennady's career. I have a good relationship with Brett Doymuck over at Barclays, but with Gennady selling out MSG against Lemieux, we figured Danny Bean from Brooklyn just make it that much bigger of an event. With the momentum that Gennady had was about a year ago, October last year, with the Lemieux fight. So we just figured that it would be just become a bigger event at Madison Square Garden.
So I know that Golovkin's ultimate goal as of now is to unify all the belts at 160 pounds. You've mentioned before that he's willing to move up a little bit for certain names like Carl Froch. If he was to take essentially move out of the division, is that permanent, or do you see him, even if he moves up to take a fight like that, going back to 160 and still unifying those belts?
Well, the goal is to unify. I mean, Gennady's made that very clear. And if he does take a fight at 168 pounds, then it would always be just for that one fight, and then going back down to 160 since he makes it so easily, and then just continue his historic run. Right now, he's got 17 title defenses, 23 knockouts in a row. So, we were talking back then, when we couldn't make any unification fights, about a fight with Carl Froch, about a fight with Chavez Jr. But that was always, just to go up for that one particular fight and then come back down, since he wants to continue to just unify the middleweight division and prove that he's the best middleweight out there today.
Tom, so here comes some fastballs. What would be the difference in Gennady Golovkin moving up to fight the likes of, I've heard you most recently since the WBC 54 convention, say Gilberto Ramirez at 68, Carl Froch out of retirement, and another 68-pounder, I guess, is Julio Cesar Chavez. That's basically the same thing that Canelo's doing, right? I mean, looking for the biggest money fight that also doesn't.
The 75-pounder, Ness, I'm going to correct you. Chavez is a 75-pounder.
Well, he made 167 the other night.
167.8, I think, is what he had. We were impressed by that because I think the contracted weight was 169. He came in under the contracted weight, actually under 168, and I actually put that on Twitter. But we have a good relationship with Chavez. We were down in Mexico last year in Cancun. He had his family down there. Obviously, Gennady has, and both. I mean, we all do have a lot of respect for Chavez Sr. Because that's where Abel really modeled Gennady's style after him, as far as his intense pressure, his body punches, just all the different combinations that he threw. And naturally, we have respect for Julio Jr. Sounds like everything's back on track now for him as far as his discipline, his dedication to the sport, and I think that's a huge fight. But if Canelo can make the fight with Chavez, that's a great fight. We don't disparage other great fights. If there's other big fights out there, I think it's like you have these. Sometimes you have promoters working against each other, TV networks working against each other. Our philosophy on the Triple G side is, the bigger fights that are made is just the better off for the sport, which translates really to everyone's career. I know Gennady brings a lot of new fans to the sport when he sold out Madison Square Garden, when he sold out the Forum, when he sold out the StubHub Center. And there were a lot of fans at all those events, even in the O2 arena in London when he fought Brook. He sold that out in 11 minutes. But when there's a lot of fans that have come to boxing for the first time when they see a Triple G fight, and that's what I think. If they see a Triple G fight, and then there's a different fighter out there that they like, and then they'll go see that fight. So I think it's just that's really the goal, is to really target the younger generation and to grow the sport of boxing itself.
So, Tom, can you Golovkin is enrolled in VADA testing because he is a WBC champion. Can you let the listeners know why VADA testing is the pinnacle of all testing? Although some other testing, of course, each organization of testing is going to say theirs is the best, but most journalists would agree that VADA testing is the pinnacle. Can you, I guess, tell our listeners why?
I would agree with that. It seems to be, it just seems to be the most broad testing. It is required by the WBC now. The first time Gennady did do the testing was for the new fight last year. And that is, the terms really aren't public for, our agreement with Jacobs, but it is part of the agreement that both fighters will do the VADA testing, and naturally that's now required for the WBC rules. So that wasn't a hurdle in the negotiations. Gennady's always been open to the testing. Abel has actually insisted on the testing because he feels that, with Gennady's power, there's always going to be people out there questioning, where he gets his power from. And so Abel has always insisted, let's just do testing, and that way there's no question marks over Gennady's power, and I think that's he's proven that over the course of the years.
Tom, how you doing? It's Enrique Church. I have a question. I know in the matrix of Gennady Golovkin, he has Jacobs next, but Canelo was said that he offered big purse to Gennady's camp. Is that true? Or is that untrue?
Great question. That is true.
We're still.
Oscar had been saying, there's a lot of people saying, oh, well, we've offered them money. He didn't sign it. And even on the first take thing, Tom, at the very end, Oscar says, well, let's see if he signs the contract. How sure are you that this fight is going to happen in September for you guys if you make it past Jacobs, obviously giving Jacobs that respect?
But was big money offered to you?
And Tom, let me put one thing.
I think the number was 10 million, right?
Well, and let me put one thing on top of that. When that no, because this is important. When that $10 million was offered, which you could disagree with the finances, did they agree for that fight to be at 160 pounds?
Oh yeah, that it was important.
And that's I'm getting multiple fastballs now, just to to get the. I will say that I'm in continued discussions with Eric Gomez of Golden Boy. I have a very good relationship with everyone there, with Oscar, with Eric, Robert Gaspari, Robert Diaz, Monica. Everyone. We work well together with them. We did the Lemieux co-promotion with them, and we had Usyk fighting on the show last night. In fact, on the HBO triple header. So I'm in continued discussions with Eric. I can't really comment on the status of the negotiations. Clearly, it's always been our intention to get the Canelo fight as soon as possible. When Gennady was the mandatory, clearly he would have wanted to fight last May if it was possible. But in regard to the weight, of all the discussions I've had with Eric, there's never been an issue of the weight. They've always agreed to 160 pounds. So that's one issue that isn't any stumbling block for those negotiations.
Now that is something that these listeners are going to be happy about. There were a lot of people. There's a demographic of people that thought that $10 million offer, if that is the number, came attached to a catch weight. So if it was 10 million and it was at 160, why didn't you guys take it back then?
Well, again, I'm not going to comment on the numbers, but I was just answering your question on the weight. Getting back to what you had said originally, nobody on our side is overlooking Danny Jacobs. This feels clearly the most dangerous fight Gennady's been in his career. It's my job, though, as a promoter, to see, what we can work out in the future. And Golden Boy says that they'd like to target September of 2017 when Canelo vacated the title this year. And, Eric said that they'd like to target September. And from our side, we're all systems go for that. We're just trying to work out a deal that makes sense for everyone. Obviously, they have to pay Canelo a lot of money to get in the ring with Gennady. It seems like everyone wants to have a lot of money when they get in the ring with Gennady. But we're used to that in the past, and hopefully we can work something out. And I think that's a big enough pie. With that fight, I think that's clearly the biggest fight, the biggest fight in the sport of boxing is, I think, financially right now that can generate, the type of pay-per-views with both Canelo's loyal fan base and Gennady's fan base. And when you put those two together, it's a tremendous event. So I think the pie is big enough in that event to make it where both sides should be able to agree on a way to make it work.
So can you you brought up that people seem to want a lot of money to get in the ring with Canelo, with Golovkin. Do you think it's because you guys are paying guys literally as much as Floyd Mayweather did to some opponents, and obviously Floyd Mayweather has much more of a lion's share of a pay-per-view? Do you think it's because the risk of a knockout, or do you think that the era of boxing has changed, and so that fighters feel that being an opponent, they're worthy more than they were previously?
I think with Gennady having 23 knockouts in a row has something to do with opponents wanting a lot more money than they would normally get. So, I grew up when I was managing Kevin Kelly. I was managing Hobakar. I worked with Shane Mosley when he first got his IBF title shot. My philosophy was, and what I've always been used to, if someone has a world title, or even in Gennady's case, multiple world titles, we would do whatever we could to get a shot, at those world titles. Now it always seems like, and I'm not referencing one particular person, but I'm just saying generalizing in the discussions over the years with negotiating fights for Gennady. It's like there's so many other conditions other than just getting the title fight. I mean, when Gennady was coming up, and he was a mandatory for Felix Sturm, he would literally have taken that fight for free just to get the opportunity to fight Sturm for that WBA Super Championship. And there were other fights similar to that, just for him to get the exposure. I mean, he almost fought for free on HBO his first time on the Proxy fight, just to get the exposure of TV, because he wasn't known here in the United States, and people just didn't want to fight him if they weren't getting paid. So we've always had the financials skewed towards the opponents, but it's worked in the long run. This isn't, we look at Gennady's career as a marathon, not a sprint. So we're looking at each situation and each promotion as one more step in building his name on a worldwide basis. And now, when he goes to China for the conventions, or he just did an appearance in Paris for the Jordan brand, where they opened up their first store in Europe, and he was one of the athletes, him and Ray Allen, were there representing Jordan. And when he made the appearance there, and all the French fans were going crazy. Or when he fought Brook in the UK and London, there were 2,000 fans that showed up for his just for the training, the media training. I mean, it's a formula that works. It's a long-term formula, and look, if we can do a fight with Danny Jacobs and with Canelo this year, I think that's probably one of the best. And if he wins both those fights, it's probably one of the best years that any boxer's had for a long time.
Tom, so what are you guys, I guess, projecting? What's a safe number for you on this pay-per-view? Obviously, again, I like to call it the Gennady Golovkin retirement fund. Every time a fighter has to fight Gennady, rather, not wants to fight, they want a severance package or something from the sport. So I understand what you're saying, where there can be some difficulties, but with those difficulties means that you have to generate that money somehow, which is the gate and obviously the pay-per-view. So what is the safe number for K2?
We're very bullish on this event. I don't want to go into any specific projections on pay-per-views, but I can safely say that our projections are that it's going to do a higher revenue than what the new fight did, both on the ticket sales and on the pay-per-view. But I think again, it goes back to Danny's a great fighter, great champion, and it's not the individuals. He has a great fan base that he brings with him, and Gennady has a great fan base. But it's the event when you put those two type of fighters together, truly the two top fighters in their division against each other, and those are the type of fights that the fans want to see, and it's the event that the fans and the media are reacting to. Is when you have the best fighting the best in our division, and we've seen fans have asked for that fight for a long time, and now we're finally able to put it together.
So, Tom, speaking about unification, obviously, Golovkin's team, you guys aren't looking past Danny Jacobs, but the last guy in, for the quest of him unification is Billy Joe Saunders, and Billy Joe Saunders has said some very questionable things, like when he was fighting Chris Eubank Jr., he said that Golovkin can beat both of us in the same night, right? Are you as optimistic as you are with Canelo that you guys will one day, fight in the ring with him? Or do you think that Billy Joe Saunders is not really wanting to take this fight down the road?
We tried to make that fight last year. This year. Instead of fighting Cal Brook, we tried to, when it was clear that Canelo wasn't going to take the fight, then the next choice was to unify the last title with Billy Joe Saunders, and we made a significant offer. We were even willing to go to the UK. That's how the whole discussion, just so the fans and the listeners know, that's how the whole discussion came about, was him going to the UK. Once the Canelo fight wasn't going to happen, I started the negotiations with Frank Warren for Gennady to go to the UK to fight Billy Joe Saunders in his home country, just to help facilitate the deal and to make it so we try to make it happen. And when it looked like after 2 weeks, it looked like that fight wasn't going to happen, Eddie Hearn phoned me up and said, if you can't make the unification fight, Eubank Jr. would be a great fight over here. He actually said it would be a bigger fight just because of the Eubank name in the UK. And that's how we started negotiating. Once it was clear that Billy Joe wasn't going to take the fight, regardless of what the financial circumstances was, he wanted to have one fight before Golovkin. That's kind of the line that we have. The Triple G side is like, I'll fight Triple G, just not next. So people don't want to say they don't want to fight him, but they don't want to fight him in the next fight. So when we started negotiating with Eubank, everything looked great. It was going on for about 4 weeks, and then Eddie just couldn't get them to close on all the final deal points. And when he was having problems negotiating the fight with Brook, that he was negotiating with Top Rank and negotiating also the Eubank side, that's when he came up with the idea of, well, let me see if it was actually I think he was joking at first. He was like, let me see if a Brook will fight Gennady, and that's really how that fight came about. But we did make a big offer to Saunders. Hopefully in the future we can make a fight like that. But my understanding is he's got a couple of mandatories that are now ordered from the WBO. So you never know who will be the WBO champion at that particular time. But if we can do the Danny Jacobs fight, if that's a successful fight, and the Canelo fight, then I think everything kind of opens up from there.
Tom Loeffler, Enrique Church again. You just said, I like to stir things up. You just said, I want to fight Triple G, just not yet. Is that a Canelo quote?
Just not next. Well, I guess indirectly. I mean, look, we don't have any animosity towards any particular fighter. We're just trying to make the best fights. Canelo went down to 154. He vacated the middleweight title. But they did say that wanted to fight him in September 2017. And I don't think anyone can argue. But clearly, our side would like that fight as soon as possible. But I do see a point that Oscar has as far as look, if we build that fight for 2017, it's a bigger event for the whole promotion. So again, we can't force guys to get in the ring, but we can just try to put the best situation together for the promotion and hopefully the best fights. And if that fight happens in September, it would have only been a year, maybe a year and a couple months that fans would have had to wait, which is a lot shorter time than some of the other biggest fights in the sport of boxing. So if we can do that for this September, that would be great. But again, everything is just predicated on Gennady beating Danny, and if that happens, then we'll see what's the next step for him.
Hey there, Tom. My name's Steven. I'm the co-producer of the show, and I just wanted to kind of switch topics just a little bit. I did hear about another great fight that was just announced, and that's the rematch between Chocolatito and Cuadras. According to Boxing Scene, it was announced during the WBC convention, and it's supposed to be targeted for sometime in March. Can you give our listeners, is there a possibility that Chocolatito will be on the undercard again? And also, is there any consideration that you might be looking to match him against Gallo Estrada for 2017?
Well, just to be clear, Chocolatito is promoted by Taken Promotions with Mr. Honda, so he's really the one that makes the decisions for Chocolatito, along with Ramon himself and Carlos Blandon, his manager. There was discussions of the rematch at the WBC convention, although nothing is set as far as the rematch is concerned. Certainly, from our side, I think the best combination of boxing is whenever we can put Chocolatito and Triple G on the same show. I just think it's such a great, so much talent for the fans to see. I think we've done it 4 times now. And if there's any way we can do it again for the March date in New York, we'll try to do it. But we needed to get the fight done with Danny Jacobs first, and now we'll try to put on the best undercard we can. I mean, we're known for putting on great fights. When Gennady fought at the Step-Up Center, the co-feature was Nonito Donaire against Walters. I mean, that was one of the great fights. To complement Triple G fight, and then since then we've had Chocolatito on the shows, and it's just it's been a great combination. Usyk fought last night at the Forum. There's a potential that he could defend his WBO cruiserweight title on that show as well. So whatever we can do now, working through the budgets and trying to put on the best fights, and as soon as we have the co-feature and the other fights on the pay-per-view done, we'll certainly announce those. But I think the fans' reaction just to the main event has been incredible.
Tom, is there a rematch clause in this one?
It's a mandatory fight, so there's no rematch clause in this contract. I think that's the one point that. Because it's mandatory, there isn't a rematch, and that kind of builds the drama for both sides. It's a winner-take-all type of thing, and that's why it's such a dangerous fight. Gennady, we spent such a long time trying to collect the titles, against champions that just didn't want to fight him. And we give David Lemieux a lot of credit for being the first champion to actually agree to get in the ring with him. And so there is no rematch clause in the agreement.
All right.
If it's a great event, to add to that, if it's a great event and fans like it and it generates a lot of revenue, then sometimes those are just natural rematches, but there's no stipulated rematch clause in the agreement.
My last one, because obviously we've had you far too long now. You've seemed to be one of the promoters to have a good amount of success in dealing with Al Heyman. But I must say that both times have been with a mandatory, defense involved. Do you see a day where there will be no belts and you can make a fight with a well-known Heyman fighter that doesn't, or that isn't a mandatory to Gennady Golovkin?
Definitely. If we can make the fight with Chavez Jr., Chavez is managed by or advised by Al, and that would clearly be a fight that isn't a mandatory. It's not even in Gennady's weight class, and there's been talks if he's successful against Danny Jacobs, and then certainly that would be a huge fight. That's always been, and that's Abel Sanchez, and that's always been Abel's dream fight is to fight Chavez, because Chavez is such a big guy. He'll weigh in at 168, but he might come in at 180, 185, and he just figures that's a big test for Gennady, because Gennady, by the time he weighs in on fight day, he gains maybe 10 pounds, 168, 170 pounds, when he goes in the ring. So that's always been his dream fight, and that's a fight that we can do with Al if we can work out the details.
Tom, sorry to interrupt. This is Boxing MD. I just have one question for you, and I'm dubbed here as the biggest Golovkin fan, but I got to keep it real with you. Well, I know it's a big name fight for Golovkin with Chavez, but how would you explain to the listeners what has Chavez done to be shown that he would be competitive against Golovkin? What has he done lately to be obviously Canelo's done great things recently, but what has Chavez done to even be mentioned in the same category?
Yeah, let me just rephrase that. That was Abel's dream fight when we were first negotiating with Top Rank with Bob Allen 2 years ago. That was before he lost to Fonfara, and actually when he lost, took off some of the shine on his career, and then some of the dedication as far as his weight issues, things like that. So that would have been from before. But look, Julio had a nice win last week, and if he can come and do a couple of more fights, then I think with his legendary name, that's a huge promotion. That was the only thing I was alluding to, is that Abel has so much respect for his father that to be able to put a fight like that together was really his dream fight. But before you guys go, don't forget to talk about the Anthony Joshua fight against Vladimir Klitschko. I mean, this is a huge event with Triple G and Jacobs in Madison Square Garden, but you got these two heavyweights fighting in Wembley Stadium. They're expecting 90,000 people over there in Wembley Stadium. So that's probably the most anticipated heavyweight fight that we've had for a long time. That's one of those where Anthony Joshua, the young lion who won the gold medal in the Olympics, undefeated with all knockouts against the veteran Vladimir, who's had such an historic run. That'll be April 29th at Wembley Stadium, and I think that's a dangerous fight for both guys. If Vladimir can win that fight, he's back on top of the sport, and if Joshua can beat Vladimir, he's got the biggest name that he can add to his resume. So that's a great matchup as well.
Oh no, we've been following that one closely. That Joshua is definitely an attraction. Listen, Tom, I want to thank you sincerely, and obviously now this being in New York, you making this fight, you've even changed our plans. We were gonna host an event around the Danny Garcia. Now we're contemplating, is Gennady Golovkin, Daniel Jacobs the bigger event that will bring out more fans, and we can finally get that award that we had to give you. See, we got to give Virgil and Deontay and a few others theirs, and this time we'll give you yours. And obviously now, after making not one but two Al Heyman fights, you definitely deserve something for being a promoter to work with everyone. In this day and age, that is something that is priceless. Again, I just want to thank you for coming on the show, and I wish you the best.
I appreciate that, Nestor. Appreciate that. We're going to have our press tour the second week of January in New York, so we'll definitely look forward to seeing you. And just for the fans and the listeners, the pre-sale is going to go on sale on this coming Friday for the the tickets to the Garden. So look out for the pre-sale codes on the social media for both Danny Jacobs and for Gennady Golovkin, and then the official on sale will be on actually Christmas Eve, on Saturday, Christmas Eve, so people can still get their stocking stuffers and people that want to get Christmas presents from a loved one. That's a great way to go for a historic night at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, and Tom, I do want to give you credit for being one of the few promoters who use social media to interact with the fans, whether that be positive or negative. But we, as boxing fans, we always appreciate that you're accessible.
Yes, no, that is definitely.
I just try to dispel some of the. I just try to dispel some of the myths out there that, and it just seems to be so much negativity on Twitter that I try to, when I see something that's just like way offline, I just try to, correct them. Or
so many insiders and experts.
I appreciate that.
Hey, Tom, what about Espinoza saying that he would have loved to put this one on free Showtime? He thought this wasn't big enough to be pay-per-view.
Well, clearly, Danny is the face of Barclays boxing, and he's been on Showtime, numerous times recently. I mean, he's also been on the HBO as well. So, from the, I think, Team Jacobs perspective, they would have loved it to be at Barclays Center and on Showtime. That was all part of the discussion and the negotiations that I had with Al and with representing Danny. But again, that was a part of the negotiation, and we were able to work it out. And I tell you, Nessa, there were a lot of naysayers saying there's no way we'll ever be able to make a deal for this fight. Even on both sides, I have to say on both sides. A lot of people were saying Danny didn't want the fight. A lot of people were saying that Gennady didn't want to take a risk defending the titles against Danny. But and a lot of people were saying I could never work out a deal with Al. So I'm glad we're able to finalize the fight, and I think the fans and the sport of boxing are the ones that are going to really win as a result of this promotion.
Well, Tom, man, thank you again. And like I said, man, being able to do all that you do with all these other promoters, and I know everyone has egos, my hat goes off to you for making the best possible fights that you can. We do understand, even though, we criticize, we do understand that it's difficult, and I understand that these guys, they want these retirement packages. But again, I don't want to take any more of your time. Thank you so much for coming on the Boxing Voice. Monster Piece, thank you again.
Tom Loeffler and applaud.
Definitely. Great interview. Tom, great guy.
I definitely look forward to seeing everyone March 18th.
You still ducked that question, though, about the generous offer, though.
You did duck the Canelo question about
better not duck me, son. You better not duck me, son.
Turn it up.
About that offer. There was an offer that I don't know. The Team Golovkin has not said why they rejected. I think we lost him.
I'm ducking him. There's a song like that.
Is Masterpiece on or not? All right. We're gonna let him off the hook. Let's get out to these callers. Listen, Steven has to go, ladies and gentlemen, so he's only here for a little while. That interview was a bonus, okay? We don't ever do interviews on Sundays. But obviously with the magnitude of this fight.
And Tom Loeffler is a VIP.
Obviously, the magnitude of this fight, and Tom Loeffler being the promoter of Gennady Golovkin, we had to get him. But that means that somebody might not make the cut because Steven's got to go. And without the producer, there ain't no show. So we're gonna go.
Hold on. Let's make it clear though. Even when I ain't here physically,
he's here.
I'm there.
He's here.
There you go.
We're going to score.
Ness, before we go, even though people call me the Golovkin fan, I asked him some real questions. I got him to say that Chavez Jr.
Stroke your ego.
Pet him.
Stroke my ego, please. Continue.
Yes, you questioned why Chavez Jr. would be a good fight,
and he admitted that it was only the name, that he's not a competitive fighter.
But we said that when we were doing the Canelo versus Chavez,
dude,
that's why Canelo would fight him.
Let's get real. The best piece of news we found out was that Usyk is going to be on the undercard. So
no, the best piece of news that we found out is that the offer always was at 160. So that
is the piece of news, and
that is interesting. Maybe somebody wasn't ready. I don't know. Scorsese, talk to me.
And I asked that question.
Yeah, what up, man? I ain't gonna talk about the love.
Before I play this bell for Scorsese, Ness, you got to give him an applause because he's the only caller on my list who picked Smith.
Fuck with me. Fuck with me. Yeah.
You see how Scorsese, doesn't it feel good though? Doesn't it feel good that the producer came right in, interrupted me, made sure that he let us know and everybody know that you were the only one to get the right pick?
Wait, I got the right pick too. Me and him are rocking together.
Here's what's ironic, right?
The point is that you still let him know that he was right, that he got it right. Where he could have went unnoticed. You know, he could have been calling in like, yo, I picked Joe Smith. I would have been questioning him like, yeah, right. Nobody picked Joe Smith.
Right. The irony is that he fought a construction worker who beat him. You know, everybody's always like, yo, this dude fighting cab drivers, accountants, lawyers.
Nah. Lawyers ain't in there taking no blow.
Cab
drivers.
Shit. Who knocked out Manny Pacquiao? What's his name?
Dude, it's Marquez, and let's not steal his call. Let's let him bask in his glory for
Marquez was an accountant.
Oh, yeah, they always hijack calls. Look,
Marquez wasn't an accountant.
Being quiet today. I think he learned his lesson.
Marquez was an accountant.
Can you please? You have 10
super producer.
You have 10 minutes.
I'll super produce that. But please get 10-minute timeout. I'll super produce that, but let's get Scorsese. Come on.
Okay, go score.
No, you wouldn't have forgot that I picked Joe Smith because I'm the person who iterates what this Superman Stevenson curse is, and I told y'all it was gonna go down like that. And but I'm not happy about it because this curse is just, it's intensifying, it's escalating. We saw Pascal almost get beat to death in front of his daughter. Now we see a 51-year-old out the ring. You think I'm that much of a savage? You think I'm happy about seeing a 51-year-old? This curse is ridiculous. It's crazy. You duck him, you speak on his name, and you see what happened to you. This man got retired. Look, it's sad. It's really sad, bro. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. He went out how he should have went out. He's jumped out the ring before. HBO tried to play all these clips of his high moments. Now tell who he really is. Tell him when he jumped out the ring versus Robert Allen and robbed that guy of his chance to win the middleweight titles. Tell us about that. Tell her that time when Chad Dawson was finna get that victory and he went ahead and just, basically banged his elbow and said my shoulder. So yeah, tell him that. And it looked more fitting the way it was. But like I said, man, I'm really not for 51-year-olds. I was hoping a barrage of punches maybe, but I guess that suffices. Damn, B-Hop, that was ugly. Joe Smith need to learn like Kovalev. You were the dark destroyer this curse is using right now. Don't try to go defy the curse and talk against Stevenson. If Stevenson offer you to fight, you go fight him or you gonna be next. Look at Kovalev. Kovalev probably sitting in front of a bowl of cereal with more stubble than usual, looking at the back of the box, just worried about his titles, just pissed. His robe ain't even tied. He got on pajamas, but little pot belly going on. This curse ain't playing, man. 2 times, 2 people done been fucked up. Everybody else got it once. I wonder if they gonna get it one more time. Adonis Superman Stevenson, y'all quit acting like y'all don't know him. 40 years old, still knocking out your favorite, well, not your favorite fighters, but young, big, strong men, still knocking them the hell out.
Top dog, damn, top dog.
You're big on him for old ass B-Hop. Man, please. But
damn, top dog. Woo.
Usyk could beat Top Dog got one of the fight. Top Dog got the fight of the year, as far as I'm concerned. Hey, he was
get 2.
Edwin Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fight of the year. He quit before he came back tough. That's all I can ask him to do. Your fight, Kovalev ducked the purse bid. Ain't my fucking fault. I can't make him fight. Stevenson can't make him fight. So y'all need to recognize this man is 40, still ducked and afraid, and he cursing these dudes, man. But how much time I don't know. If I get cut, I get cut. Usyk B plus B minus performance. He should have just threw a overhand left, a looping overhand left. He would have knocked the dude out much earlier.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna open up the phone lines and stay on those. Make sure that you hit that thumbs up button. If you're watching this on YouTube, tell a friend to tell a friend. The Boxing Voice is live. That number is 1-425-569-5241. Press 1. Talk to me, Steven.
Yeah, sorry about that denied one, man. We got all kinds of buttons on this switchboard. But I have to mention this. MD, you're not going to believe this, but Casual was right.
I know.
Quote, we took our education very seriously and got good grades in school. I was good with numbers and liked math very much. There was a 2-year course in Mexico that will let you get certified as a bookkeeper and another that will get you certified as an accountant. By the time I made my professional debut, I was an accountant and got a job working in the city accountant department.
Juan Manuel Marquez?
I shit you not, my friend. Juan Manuel Marquez wasn't.
You could be right about that, but the reason why I said that is that you equated him to a journeyman boxer. Literally, Joe Smith Jr. left the construction site to go box.
So
now,
he did as well.
Marquez was no. Marquez was a full-time fighter for. Come on, that's the difference.
Hey, and no lie,
that's not a really good.
And no lie, Joe Smith is such a fill-in name. Like it's such a a random name. That would be the name of a movie boxer who was some nobody that no one heard of. Oh, he's fighting Joe Smith.
I know, man. Do
you see the difference, Enrique? Come on, man. Stop trolling me.
No. What I'm saying is don't sleep on the mechanics or the taxi drivers that come to fight.
Listen, check it out, fellas. I know it's gonna get boring for you, but it's 9 o'clock. We got a lot of callers. Let's get some callers. Let's get some callers off this list. Let's get some callers off this list. We're gonna go to and callers. Act like Mike Tyson. Go for a knockout. Don't be a 12-round decision. You know what I'm saying? Don't be a 12-round decision.
Don't get boring with jabs and 1-2s. And
you know what I'm saying? Let's go for a knockout. And on my first-time callers, if I go to your area code and you realize that it's your area code, just scream out first-time caller, because you know the rules around here. All right, buddies. All right, so let's go out to.
Hold on, we got to go out to Monster Piece because she likes to come on right after she's done. We let ourselves get through Scorsese, so this way we can give Monster some time. But I want to go back out to her before she starts blowing up my phone and.
Strong intro, by the way.
She's got one of the best. Monster, are you there? Monster. I think she fell off. I'm not even seeing her number up.
All right, let's get to Donald.
Matt Hunter. No, Matt Hunter's on the line too, dude. You know we got to get to our producers, people who help make the show flow. Matt's giving us all the stats, live time. Whenever news is breaking during the show, Matt's the one.
And I know MD already saw it, but I already put out an article for the Tom Loeffler saying that Gennady Golovkin, Canelo Alvarez is at 160. Felt like that was deserved. Great interview, guys. Great questions. Even Casual, man. Great questions, Casual. But serve me some crow. I need 3 servings of crow. It was a bad weekend.
That's crow in one shotgun. And thank you for the compliment.
Yeah. First off, Povetkin should not be banned for life because everyone's on steroids. Let's be real. He should just be tested more now. That's Sullivan Barrera is legit. I know. What? Come on, Sullivan Barrera is the fact that he knocked out Shabransky, which all you boxing.
Oh no, that buzzer was definitely for your Povetkin response.
Oh, okay, good. I'm like, Sullivan Barrera is legit.
Yeah, but Matt, you say everybody's juiced, but he knows he's being tested and he's still doing it. So doesn't make him an extra fuckboy for doing that shit?
I mean, he is, but let's be real. They're you know me. I'm not a big anti-PED guy. We had Antonio Orozco passed out during weight cutting, and we're not talking about that at all. We're having fighters pass out.
That's a separate issue, but let's just focus on the PED. I get it. We don't have yes.
We're having fighters in Brazil die from weight cutting all the time because they're not educating on weight cutting, because weight cutting is an archaic form that only combat sports has in terms of athleticism. No other major sport has weight cutting. Why?
Hey, Matt, Matt, do you remember the TBV appreciation night in Vegas? Hashtag TBV appreciation night, everybody. We're gonna have another one. But when we were talking around the pool with Caleb Plant and Deontay Wilder, I asked them about doing the weigh-ins the day before, and I asked myself, although that helped a lot of fighters not suffer on the day of, but having that extra cushion, wouldn't you think that increases the risk of wanting to really drain yourself out because I'll still have a day to rehydrate?
Yeah, 100%.
100% disagree with you. 100% disagree.
Why is that?
Because people are still going to be making dangerous weight cuts and will only have a few hours to rehydrate. So we see more deaths. There's a reason why they switched that rule back. Trust me.
Agreed. 13 seconds.
That's also what the fighters had all mentioned too. They all prefer the day before.
Hey, Tom Barrera did a great job. Everyone go see the Sonny Dom knockout because that was the top knockout of the year. I know no one saw that. And you all have a great show. Peace.
Matthew Hunter. It's time to go to Donald's trap phone.
What's up, Nash? What's up, y'all?
Donald with the trap.
Man, I'm gonna get right into it. Hey, the Hopkins and Junior fight. I was like, damn, I hated to see Hopkins go out like that, but I feel like for him to be pressing for a fight at 51, 52 years old, and the fight up and as dangerous as Joe Smith Jr., I feel like he wanted to go out on his shield. Now, as far as like only for Joe Smith Jr., I come up with 3 names, and I don't know if y'all will agree or disagree. Sullivan Barrera for one, that would be a good fight. Also, we forgot about Edwin Rodriguez because he got knocked out by Thomas Williams Jr., so he would be looking for like a comeback fight to get back into the groove of the light heavyweight division. And then I just came up with Arthur Vedabura, but I don't know. Joe Smith Jr., he seems to be pretty strong. Is it possible for him to go in the ring with somebody like Arthur Vedabura because he's a puncher too? Also, this is a little bit, but I just want to throw that out there. I seen something where it said that Ward was talking about retirement instead of coming back for the rematch, And I was thinking that might be a good idea because a lot of people kind of said that he really didn't win, but he did. And I'm going to just remind y'all of one thing. Remember when Lennox Lewis fought Vitaly Klitschko and he won, but he really lost because of that point, but they stopped it because of the cut? And when I seen that they said Ward was thinking about retiring, I was thinking like, yeah, that was kind of like when Lennox Lewis lost, but he still won, and he just went on ahead and retired. That was a situation like that. And then I was thinking also that the Garcia and Thurman fight, I feel like it really needs to be in Vegas now because of Golovkin and Jacobs. I don't think that they can make as much money and be so big over there now because of that, and because they're like, 2 weeks apart? If they were to do it over there, I think, yeah, they should do it in Vegas. And I seen an interview with Keith Thurman, and he said that I don't know if you guys know this, or maybe you do, but nobody said nothing, but Thurman, he's been elevated to the WBA super champion now as well. Did you guys know that?
Yeah, that was a long time ago, bro. Soon as Floyd dipped out. Yeah. But you got about 38 seconds left. So what I want to ask you is this. Are you going to see Golovkin Jacobs?
Man, you know what? I'm a Golovkin fan, but I'm really, really more intrigued to see the Thurman and Garcia fight. That's why I'm hoping that Thurman and Garcia fight in Vegas. That's close by me. I can go to Vegas, and then I'll come to see Golovkin and Jacobs too, only if Thurman and Garcia is over here. And where are you guys going to be doing that party at? Because the next party that you guys having, I got to go to it.
Well, that's the thing. That's what we're trying to we're trying to get a little gauge as to what is the bigger fight for our listeners.
And I'm saying Thurman Garcia is.
Gennady Golovkin has proven to sell more tickets than both Garcia and Thurman.
I gotta go. Golovkin Jacobs has got to be the bigger fight for me. They're at a heavier weight division. I think there is also a more likelihood of a knockout. If I'm going to pay money to watch a fight live, I'd like to see a knockout.
You want to hear the hard truth, and people might not like to hear this?
Go ahead.
Maybe this fight might be bigger to us, more competitive, the Thurman Garcia, but I'll tell you straight up that the Golovkin Danny Jacobs fight will be promoted better.
Yeah, well, I mean, they already have a head start. They have a venue, they have a date. Garcia only has a date, no venue, and that is a problem. So that is one of the questions that we want. What's the bigger fight to you, Garcia Thurman or Golovkin Jacobs? Because this puts a bit of a dilemma. We was expecting Danny Garcia and Danny Garcia and Keith Thurman to be in New York City. Lou DiBella already has the Barclays Center on hold. Will they now still try to do a fight in the Barclays Center regardless? I mean, and I doubt it. I mean, would they shoot Danny Jacobs in the foot, right?
Yeah, come to Orlando because I could go to both fights then. That'd be awesome.
No, think about it though, MD. Like, will they be shooting themselves in the foot if they put Thurman and Garcia in the Barclays Center 2 weeks before, even though that's their fighter in Daniel Jacobs?
Well, since one's on pay-per-view, one's not on pay-per-view, I guess the only thing to worry about is ticket sales. And I think that it is a slightly different demographic who would go to one fight versus the other fight. So I still think it's a possibility.
People are saying New York City is the better, is the no-brainer.
Yeah, I think that it would be better for Thurman Garcia in New York City, being that there is an established kind of fan base there, with Danny being from the East Coast. There's a Puerto Rican fan base. Thurman has done some okay numbers over there too. I think that that's a better place for them. I think that if I'm PBC, I would prefer if they would be at, like, if Danny Jacobs was fighting at a different venue than Thurman Garcia.
Oh, you mean like let Danny be in Madison Square so Danny could be in. I mean, let Golovkin Danny be in Madison Square so that Danny Thurman could be in Barclays.
I think separating them a little bit like that might help the ticket sales if they're both at the same place. Maybe
I don't know, man. That seems close, man.
I think that I think Jacobs Golovkin could have been in LA. I think it could have been there because Golovkin is a big ticket seller down there.
You know what's really the problem is that I really think that this is going to be a ripple effect. I think now that Golovkin Jacobs is done, and that's probably been the holdup on the fucking Danny Thurman fight all along.
Listen, I want to play, I think, too, but go ahead.
Because at the end of the day, Heyman is in control of all three of these guys outside of Golovkin. So, fuck, I don't want this fight. I don't want Thurman to go over to LA. That shit don't belong over there, man.
Yo, they're not gonna get a Puerto Rican guy from Philadelphia and a black guy from Florida to fight on the West Coast. It makes no fucking sense.
Yo,
They've
had Thurman on the West Coast before, my friend. Are you forgetting?
There's Carrera, who's a Mexican.
And they had Danny over there too, man. I don't know.
Where's Carrera, who's a Mexican?
They got me scared, MD. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm telling you.
Give me coins for that.
Dude, he was right. MD was right. They were both totally against Guerrero, and they were banking off of that.
It doesn't matter that they were both against Guerrero.
Because people like you still gave Guerrero a fucking chance against Danny. Come on,
it totally matters that it was against Guerrero.
Producer, check Thurman's record. That's not the only guy he fought in LA. This guy's bugging.
Listen, I think that Danny Garcia Thurman is just as big as Daniel Jacobs versus Triple G. I'm sure a lot of people are writing off Daniel Jacobs immediately when the fight was called, like, oh, he's been knocked out before. And Danny Garcia has not been knocked out. Neither has Keith Thurman. A lot of people are thinking that Danny Garcia will be knocked out for the very first time. He is a vulnerable guy, but it's going to be an explosive fight, man. This is a big fight. I would go to either or. I hope both of them take place in New York.
MD, what is it that you're saying that people are telling me to listen to? What did you say that I'm not listening to?
I'm saying that it's retarded to put a Puerto Rican from the Northeast and a black guy from Florida in the West Coast.
Where do they put them?
Brother, I'm agreeing.
East Coast.
I'm agreeing with you. I said this fight. Literally, my words were, this fucking fight doesn't belong in Los Angeles. I said that.
It could go to Vegas.
Vegas is whack, man.
It is
whack. It's whack. Enrique,
no one's doing big numbers. Like look at Kovalev and Ward. 13,000.
Yeah, this got to happen either Atlantic City.
Doing 13,000 in New York.
No, there's not a venue big enough in Atlantic City for that.
13,000 in New York. I don't understand why you guys are hating on that for Kovalev Ward. Neither guy is based in Vegas. Ward
It wasn't a
barely sells
sellout. That's
He
where
barely
he's
sells out in his hometown. That fight was never going to sell out. Kovalev is known on the East Coast.
No, that's the point, Steven. You trying to make it okay because you are hardcore. Listen, when a fight is a pay-per-view fight and it's the best versus the best, it's a super fight. When it's a super fight, you do super numbers. Bottom line, let's get to some
And
calls.
you think it would have sold out if it wasn't in Vegas? You think Vegas is the
Fuck
reason why?
yeah, you put, yo, my friend, you would have put that fight in Oakland, it would have sold out. But egos don't allow things like that to happen. That fight would have been in Oakland, it would have sold out. Am I wrong or am I wrong?
I think it would have done another 13,000.
Okay, sure. Let's go to Marcus from DC.
Yo, great interview with Loeffler. I think y'all missed one imperative question. I think y'all should have asked him, after all was said and done and after the deal was consummated, was it any different than what was being suggested?
Consummated.
That they didn't wind up pulling the fight off on December the 10th. Because, like I said, once again, happily that the fight is happening, happy that it's pay-per-view. I do think Garcia and Thurman is a big fight in the grand scheme of things. It's two undefeated welterweight titleists. Danny Jacobs and Golovkin's fight is more of a consolidation of titles. But I think that the buzz is about people thinking that Golovkin's actually going to be, this is an opponent people actually feel like is going to be a threat to him. And I think the buzz about that to either confer or dispel whether Gennady Golovkin is a true beast as what he's being called is going to generate more buzz. And I think they're going to have to move Danny and I think they're going to have to move Danny and Keith. I don't know where, but go to the Spectrum. I mean, whatever that thing is down there in Philly, but I don't know if Thurman would go for that. B-Hop, one of the best boxers, went out on his shield. Nazim Richardson had said that the one thing Bernard hadn't done in the ring yet is go out on his back, and now he's done that. So he's done absolutely everything in the ring. Nondescript fights, I'll take Crow on Bernard and I think Shabransky. It was crazy because I watched Shabransky versus Gonzalez before I made the pick. I tweeted both of y'all. My fingers were saying Barrera's going to win and wound up typing I got Slavbransky, but it really was I got Slavbransky losing, but I'll take Crow on both of those. Povetkin, go ahead, get him. He has two. You got to do him like OJ. They let him go with the Meldonium. All right, we're going to get you out of here. We're going to say, okay, we're going to get you out of this one. But since he did the second one, he needs a 2-year ban. And then after that, no matter what divisional ranking he's fighting in, he should be VADA tested at all times as a requirement to get back sanctioned in any of those things. So, any of the other fights any good? Nah, fuck them. I say some time for somebody else. That's my call, y'all. Good luck.
Oh, where the fuck? Whoa. Take some of this.
All right, good.
Take a little gunshot to the leg for trying to run. Next time you can't run now with that gunshot. But Marcus, man, thank you for calling in. We're gonna go straight out to some alumni.
Hold on. We got to go out to Monster Peace because she told me she is ready, and I did skip her twice, sorta. Monster, you there?
Yes, unfortunately, I am here.
Why would it be unfortunate? Makes no sense.
Why would it be unfortunate?
Because I should have hanged up the moment you guys moved on. When I was like, hello,
yeah,
and nobody was like answering me.
Well, we didn't hear you.
Like, oh, I just got played.
Monster, that was all my fault. I couldn't find your number in the queue. I'm sorry. It looked like you dropped.
So what's up?
Okay, I'm joking, guys. Hello, everybody. Great interview today. I thought Tom Loeffler was really cool to give us this interview tonight. So big ups to him. Thank you, everyone. If you're listening, please thumbs up and share the show. We did have a great show tonight, so definitely share it. I just was wondering, have you guys voted already for Fighter of the Year and Fight of the Year? And if so, who did you guys, the panelists, vote for? Before you guys answer that, I actually went for Thurman as Fighter of the Year. I think it's more of a popularity contest with him, so I really think he's gonna win because of that. But I also felt like he had the best fight of the year based on just how excited
He had one fight. He only had one fight. He only had one fight.
What do you guys think? Everybody in the panel tonight.
100% I agree with Casual.
He's
not a
1,000,000% agree with Casual.
Monster, first of all, we're going to be doing a show on our fighters of the year. We're going to do our year-end wrap-up. You know, so
can you guys give us like a little? Can you guys give us like a little hint?
Hey, yeah. Hold on, Ness. We can give her a little taste. Give her a little taste of that crow because she picked B-Hop.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah.
Wait. I think she just wants to hear it. Wait, Monster, sorry to hijack. We should just say yes or no to her question really quickly. I go no.
What, is Thurman fighter of the year?
No. Okay, let's move
Monster, where you get that question from? How do you work for this podcast and don't know how Thurman is Thurman fighter of the year? Explain that one.
She loves you.
That could be fight of the year.
You guys, I was telling you guys based on what I think, because I feel like on the PBC, on their little website, and then having that little vote or whatever thing they have going on, I feel like Thurman will win based on a popularity contest.
On the PBC propaganda machine.
I agree that Thurman has one of the best wins all year.
But as much as people say that we're a PBC propaganda machine, we're not. So that's why I said no to that question.
I would argue that Thurman has one of the best wins of
so
the year.
Masa, your only comeback is.
Thank you. That I do. That's what I did say to someone on my Instagram. I did tell them that I feel like he had the best win, and also probably the most nail biting fight of the year. Also, kind of because. Am I done already?
You're done.
God damn. Bye. God damn. Bye.
Get Al Heyman for us next Sunday.
Yeah, get Heyman on the show. Credit the Masterpiece for all you weirdos. Remember, she gets you all those big guests. She was in conjunction with that Tom Loeffler. Made sure he got on there smoothly, even though the system was having some issues. So remember, you might not like every single host, but it's a rotating panel of hosts that give you different views and perspectives. So enjoy the show as a whole and not individually. Like, don't just hate because it's Enrique when some people love, Enrique.
Or MD.
Exactly. Don't just hate because MD is MD.
Exactly. How you gonna tell the man how to do himself?
Love the show because Steven is here. You still love Steven. So
but Ness is immune to criticism, right? Nestor Gibbs is the speaker of truth, so he's immune of criticism.
Yeah, we got a lot of callers, man. Damn, I'm a little nervous here. Alumni, and I gotta ask him the question. So I'm sure he's smart enough to know the question. He's gonna answer it anyway, and he'll let us know. But
Mr. Info Joe.
This portion of the show we call In the
Mr.
Know,
Info Joe.
presented by my brother.
Go ahead, Joe. Tell us the truth.
Yo, you know it ain't no show without no info, Joe. That's the truth. What up, Boxing Voice? What up, fam? What up, Enrique?
What's up?
MD, Steven, super producer.
Hey, Info Joe, I'm hijacking right from the back. I'm hijacked. Oh, I think he was going to answer it. I'm nervous because I need to know. A guy like you, I need to know what to you is bigger, because you would be a guy that's coming all the way from the West Coast. Which one is it?
I would have to say Thurman Porter, man. Thurman Garcia. I'm more of a, that's my division, if I had to pick a division. And more of a fan of both of those guys than Jacobs and Triple G.
Bill, let me ask you a better question. Would it be smart to have that fight in the West Coast? Take yourself out of it, because I want every fight to be in Orlando, Florida, because it's close to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna be biased, man. So I'm gonna say the West Coast. But seeing the energy, I went to the Thurman Porter fight in Brooklyn, and the energy there, and the much fun that I had in New York, I wouldn't as mind either, because I had such a great time in NY. But if I had a choice, of course, money reasons, I would say LA or Vegas.
All right, Joe. Well, what did you think,
But,
obviously, of the news with Golovkin and you know, Joe Smith Jr. knocking out Hopkins? I mean, just the weekend in general.
let me burn. Give me that crow for B-Hop first. With Tapatio or a Louisiana hot sauce. Yeah, Father Time caught up with the old lion. After the 6th round, I knew he was done. He had no pop on his punches to keep Joe Smith off him. B-Hop was like an old lion with no teeth. On another note, Roy Jones, one of my favorite fighters of all time. Us as boxing fans, we need to do a boxing intervention for old fighters. If you way past your prime, don't fuck with Father Time. Now, on the Jacobs, give me some coins for that, Ness. But on the Jacobs and Triple G, your boy Info Joe from South Central LA. I'm jumping in the Brooklyn car. Where Brooklyn at? I'm picking Jacobs to beat Triple G. I think it's a step-up fight for both fighters. Jacobs, if you're listening, for your ring walk, you need to come out and Biggie Smalls, Brooklyn's finest. And MD, if you want to redeem yourself from that Kovalov loss, that pie bet, like Doc Holliday said in Tombstone, I'll be your Huckleberry.
Whatever that means.
Do you want to run that bet back?
With what?
With your bet. He's picking Jacobs.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, I'll take that bet.
That's a big bet.
Yo, I'm letting you know that, like, you should, when you get a pie, invest in it better than the shitty, great value cream, wherever they got, because that the shittiest stuff hurts your eyes. So try to get some, you know, spend 50 more cents.
MD's the only guy that hits himself.
I'm not
with
gonna have to worry about it.
Ooh, confidence. I love it, Info Joe. Listen, Joe, let me get to some other callers, brother. Thank you, as always, for calling in. We're going to be taking down this information. Man, 504, Josh, New Orleans, talk to us. Yo, he's in a snowstorm, this guy. Yo, my man, get off the Bluetooth or the speaker. You know, realize that you on
podcast.
You coming on right after Tom Loeffler. Like, I mean, just clean up your act. Let's go, Josh.
Yeah, can y'all hear me this time?
Yes, sir.
All right, I want to give my pie for B-Hop. Give my crow for B-Hop. Hello?
Congratulations, you've been crowed.
I want to start off with the Povetkin. I want to start off with the Povetkin thing. The dude, to me, he should be suspended or something. Made an example on boxing because he's a proven cheater, and I don't see that he should get another opportunity to cheat against somebody else. And it was ridiculous for that first caller y'all talked to, Matt, to say that everybody does it in boxing, because that's ridiculous. I mean, if you get caught doing it, you should be punished for it. And some dudes do cheat, if they are, and they eventually take the violence test, and they should be called for it. That's a sport where you could get killed, and he still went on and fought that dude and knocked that dude out in a dominating fashion, but he was a proven cheater. And so all his wins is very, very questionable. Going back to the Michael Perez fight, which I felt like he probably cheated in that one. As far as Joe Smith Jr., like I said, B-Hop, I think it caught up with him. He finally couldn't be an alien or be deny the odds. And like the other caller said, Father Time caught up with him, and he couldn't do much about that. But I really felt like he didn't want to get back in that ring. He did something similar to what he did with the Chad Dawson fight, where he acted like he couldn't get up and fight no more. And he put on a show, and he just realized that his time was up. As far as Golovkin and the Jacobs fight, I'm glad it's done. I do prefer to keep Thurman and Danny Garcia fight. I feel like that's a fight I would want to see before that fight, because I kind of feel like Danny Jacobs got a chance to beat him, but I don't think he's going to beat Golovkin. I mean, we'll find out and we'll see. But as far as Golovkin and asking Tom Loeffler, I really don't believe in it that they come from him. I think they are full of it, honestly. I think Golovkin is clearly one of the most protected, highly promoted guys in the sport. They've got a lot of excuses for him. He want to stay in a weak division at 160. He don't want to do nothing else. None of the other greats did in the sport or challenge himself and fight people that want to fight him when he don't have the opposition to fight him at 160. And I really believe they're hiding behind this Billy Joe Saunders thing and not really putting that pressure on Billy Joe Saunders because they want to always fall back and say they want to be able to get all the titles. And really, nothing ain't happening there. Golovkin, to me, I mean, the biggest name on his resume is Kell Brook. And I hope Danny Jacobs beat him and stuff like that.
10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds. Do you think that Golovkin's ducking Billy Joe Saunders? Yes or no?
What?
No, let me answer that. Do you think that Golovkin's ducking Billy Joe Saunders?
No, I didn't say he's ducking Billy Joe Saunders. I said they are using what Billy Joe Saunders' tactics to continuously say they want to unite the titles at 160 and the dude not stepping in the ring and not fighting. Golovkin needs to be looking past that and stop talking about he want to stay at a weak division and move on and fight better competition.
I just still can't see how you can be negative when he's fighting Daniel Jacobs, who definitely is in the top 5 in that middleweight division, no matter how you look at it.
No, I'm not being negative. I'm just being honest. I'm being honest because, I mean, I don't ride the hop train. Golovkin has been making a name over fighting no names. And I'm not on like you on him, MD. I mean, I'm just being honest.
It's okay. Yo, there's plenty of room. You could join one day. So, you know, I feel you. Thanks for calling in, man.
I'm not joining him.
Hey, Josh, we got to let you go, brother. You did go over already. We got to get to some other callers, and we got a lot of alumni. MD, you'd love to do that at the end. I don't get it.
If you know like I know, you should lie low. Killer, I used to get it in Ohio.
Yeah. I'm gonna be real quick. I'm going for the knockout, Mike Tyson style. Man, B-Hop, I think he got what he just. Scorsese said it kind of the best, man. He kind of got what he deserved, man. I mean, he's done a lot of dirty tactics over the years, and I think some of those dirty tactics kind of came back to bite him in the butt. And I think he kind of does those things to kind of bail himself out of, real difficult fights. So he just don't get that KO on his record. But, he couldn't avoid it last night. Man, that Triple G, Danny Jacobs, man. I'm really pumped about that, man. I think it's kind of good that we finally get to see our man Triple G tested, man. Now, the only thing I hope and I pray, man, I just hope that Danny doesn't come in there scared, hesitant, thinking like anything like an opponent, man. I just hope he really comes in there knowing that he's somewhat on the same level as Triple G, and I think we're going to see a good fight, man. But if he doesn't come with that mentality, man, Triple G is going to walk right through him, man. That's it, man. That's my call.
Jay, man, thank you for calling in. Got more alumni waiting up. That's what I'm talking about. I'd like to see that. Where is this at? Where is this at? I'm lost today. Oh, I'm not on the right page. Sorry.
I told y'all a long time ago, the Kirkland will go down 3 rounds.
Who's next? I got milk, baby.
Dead air. What's up?
Milkman, what up?
Yo. Hey man, y'all had me muted, man. Y'all fucked me out of 30 seconds, man. But look, man, people need to stop with this Bernard Hopkins hate, man. The man still had the desire to test himself at 51 years old. All right. He didn't go in there fighting some damn 40th ranked guy. He fought a legit dude. And he got knocked out of the ring, man. So I can't hate on the guy for wanting to challenge himself. We as fans get really selfish, and we don't want to see somebody else challenge themselves when they still have the desire to do so. So hats off to B-Hop, man. He was one of the best to ever do it, especially at middleweight. And speaking of middleweight, you know, people need to stop hating on Triple G. Speaking of Hopkins, a lot of parallels can be drawn between them. Hopkins fought at middleweight for 17 years before he moved up. 17 years, all right? Triple G has been fighting for about 10 years, all right? So he is beating everybody. He's knocking people out. He can make the weight. Why do we want to push him into another weight class? Some of the best middleweights of our time didn't move up in weight. Marvin Hagler, Carlos Monzon, you know, just to name a few. So we need to stop, man. And speaking of Bernard Hopkins, anybody that he fought, that he lost to or had a questionable decision, he came back and got it straight. Robert Allen. Who else did he fight? He came back.
Roy Jones.
Lost to Jermaine Taylor. He beat Roy Jones. He lost to Jermaine Taylor, came right back and tried it again, although he lost. He lost to Jean Pascal the first time, came right back and beat Jean Pascal. So Bernard Hopkins is a fucking warrior. I don't care how he fought, but he always tested himself. Always tested himself, unlike a lot of people nowadays. So it is what it is, man.
Can you at least be somewhat critical for him not giving Joe Smith any credit for that win?
Yeah,
you know, that's Hopkins, man. You know,
and I could say that's a poor sportsmanship.
I mean, yeah, you can call it what you want to call it, but I know I give him credit. So it is what it is. You know, regardless of all that, he's one of the best to ever do it. So we got to respect that. So I'm out.
Yeah, I think we did that, but again, I think that he literally was like, I don't know, I was injured and then he pushed me out because he was frustrated. Like, I don't like to hear that, and I think a lot of us don't like to hear that. But again, first ballot Hall of Famer, a legend.
All right, and even more, we're gonna continue with the alumni. They stacking up.
Long Beach in the house. Yeah.
JP, wake up. He did this yesterday. All right. Well, when one mandatory challenger can't fight, we got to go down the line. So that brings it a little faster for.
It's Baltimore, gentlemen. The gods will not save you.
What's going on, everybody? Yeah, am I loud and clear?
Loud and clear, Wood. What's up?
Yeah, what's going on, man? Look, man, I'm glad, man. The boxing gods finally caught up to Bernard Hopkins, man. He fought this full-time construction worker that learned how to box on his lunch break and got his ass knocked the fuck out the ring because he jumped out the ring about 5 or 6 times in his career. Now the shit finally came. You know what I'm saying? Now the shit finally came the truth because he was playing around with this shit, falling off the ring and shit. Now he finally got his ass knocked the fuck out the ring for real. Yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. And I want to talk about that motherfucker. What's his name? That Povetkin and shit, man. They got a history. I said this before. Russia got a history of cheating, man. They've been cheating always since. I know they were treating before Ivan Drago. They've been treating way before him, but the Ivan Drago brung that shit. They've been cheating for a long time.
It goes back to like the 1960s with the wrestling. Yeah, way before that. Yeah, I feel it.
But what if like whatever they use isn't illegal over there, but it's illegal? It's illegal in the States.
It's illegal with the testing that he signed by, so that's all that matters.
That's what that matters. You're right.
This motherfucker got drugs for every day of the week. They just now bust this nigga for one drug, then this nigga use another drug. He got a different drug for every day of the week.
Yeah, he trying to conceal it.
He got a different drug for. Yeah, he got a different drug for every. They bust him for one, then he pull out another one. But yeah, I want to talk about what Ness said. But Ness right, man, because about that Danny Garcia and Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman he's white and he's black, so he's a Negro-European, right? And Danny is a Puerto Rican. He's a Puerto Rican that don't speak Spanish.
That's
So
true.
where can you put a
Coins.
combination like that at?
What?
Orlando.
Brooklyn.
Because he don't speak Spanish, and then this guy, he's a Negro-European. He's black and white. So where would you put all this wild stuff at? You might as well put it in New York, because New York used to wild shit like that.
Yeah, but don't you want to put in Orlando where all the theme parks are? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, he's black and white and looks Puerto Rican, so yeah, might as well be in Brooklyn.
That's right.
Yeah, that's why, careful. He's a black guy and a white guy, but he looked like he's Puerto Rican. And then the Puerto Rican don't speak Spanish. God damn, this is, where can we satisfy that?
You coming to the party?
Yo, Wood, you speak more Spanish than Danny Garcia?
I believe so.
I agree with you.
Are you coming to the party?
Wood, what fight you going to see, Wood? What fight you going to see? Thurman Garcia?
I'm going to one on the 15th. I'm trying to make it to the 15th, man. I'm beefing with this bitch ass nigga on my job.
I'm talking about. Yo, are you going to Golovkin Jacobs or Dan Thurman?
Oh yeah. Oh, Danny Thurman. I want Jacobs. Jacobs gotta beat. I know this going all against MD. I ain't trying to start no beef with you, man. But GGG got to be destroyed, man. He got to be destroyed, man. I'm on my Dr. Strange shit today, man.
All right, Wood, you got your minutes, baby. Let me
Yo, the Wood look like his Anon.
Huh?
Like his avatar. Whatever.
Like his avatar? I don't know.
His avatar.
He ain't show up yet. Santiago, what's going on,
I
brother?
always wanted to hear Wood's stand-up routine. He's letting me know he was doing a stand-up spot.
Yo, stop carjacking. Y'all stay carjacking. Santiago.
Hey guys, what's up?
What's up?
Oh man, that last night was an interesting night. You know, you already know I was there live. You know, it annoyed the hell out of me to hear people boo Usyk. You know, when he was fighting, you know, they were like, some little shit was behind me saying, "We want to see blood," and I'm like, "You want to go see blood? Go watch MMA then, you son of a bitch." Shit, this is boxing. You know,
Sweet
so
science. Tell him, Santiago.
I'm a boxing fan and I like to see blood, so
check
whatever.
those little wimps.
Hey, I like blood as much as the next man too, but I'm not above a good boxing match too, man.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit I scream blood. It just makes you seem like your IQ's low. I get it. Stupid. I agree.
Whatever you say, man. Whatever you say. I look forward to seeing Usyk fight again. I look forward to seeing, you know, Joe Smith Jr. fight again. I'm looking forward to the Golovkin Jacobs fight. And honestly, wherever the party's being held, I'll be seeing that fight because I can't afford to go watch, you know, Golovkin Jacobs. I'll have to catch that here at home. I ain't got much to say.
Wait. What? So you going to Thurman Garcia? I mean, you going to Thurman? Yeah, Thurman Garcia.
Yeah. You guys are having the party. I want to go to the party. If I go to the party, then I won't be able to go see Golovkin.
Well, that's what we're trying to gauge. We're trying to gauge which one is the bigger fight and which one should we do the party around.
Honestly, I want to see both. That's the bottom line. I want to see both. But if I had to pick, honestly, I want to go see Golovkin Jacobs. I'd love to go back to Madison Square Garden. So, like I said, that's my call. So unless you guys have any other questions, I'll leave you guys to it.
Well, all right.
Yo, Ness, I want AB to call in to give us his opinion because the last time he told us he had about 8 bitches with him. So, and Vegas was pretty good for him, right?
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. He ain't gonna be able to do that in New York. Let me get out to my Patreon. Muhammad, talk to me. And actually, JD was there first, Muhammad. One moment, JD, talk to me.
Yo, what's going on?
What up?
Appreciate the question, asking them about that rematch clause. But nah, man, getting to the B-Hop fight, I'm I'm glad he gave us a bunch of years. About 8 years too many, but it's time for him to shut it down, man. We don't, he's not exciting to watch. So I don't know, man. Just congratulations to his career. But Philly been taking losses, man. I mean, J-Rock to B-Hop to the guy that I forgot the guy's name that lost to Willie Monroe Jr. Next is Danny Garcia. He's going down in the 5th round. I mean, what Philly gonna do, man? Meek Mill's been cursed the whole city. But getting to Jacobs GGG. It's amazing how much credit GGG gets for only beating David Lemieux. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the best person on his resume. And you got fighters like Thurman, Jacobs who beat Quillen. You got Charlo who just beat J-Rock. They got to jump over the moon to get this kind of credit that GGG got. Like, they got to climb the Great Wall of China. And this dude GGG just get all this credit, man. It's amazing to me. But I can't wait for the fight though, man. And I just want everybody to give Jacobs his credit and not say that this dude was overhyped. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I got.
That's weird that you are so focused on giving Jacob his credit, yet you're taking all the credit away from Golovkin. Weird.
Muhammad, talk to us.
Yo, what up? What up?
What's going on, brother?
The biggest fight is Thurman Garcia. No question asked. That fight should happen in New York. Golovkin Jacobs, that's a good fight, but that's like dessert. But this here is the main course. More compelling fight, 2 undefeated fighters, a lot at stake. So that's the biggest fight as far as I'm concerned. And I think you guys should do your appreciation party around that fight. That's what I'm suggesting. Now, with respect to Povetkin, he should be banned, period, because this guy is a cheater and he will do anything to cheat. He's in Russia and they've been caught with the Olympics and everything. So he might discover a drug that, that testing cannot reveal, and he might kill somebody in the ring. He should be banned, period. Let him fight in Russia, but he can never have a belt. As far as Bernard Hopkins, much respect to the man, but that's ridiculous. He should have called it a career after the Beibu Chumanov fight, because he could have been hurt really bad. The good thing about it is he's probably getting some frequent flyer miles from American Airlines, but that's it, man. He should call it a career. And basically, that's my call.
Well, all right, Muhammad. Thank you for the suggestion, because that is definitely what we're looking for. What is the bigger fight for everyone? We're going to Brooklyn. You live in Brooklyn, Too Tough. What's the bigger fight for you? Which one? I mean, now you're probably going to both, huh?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to both. I wish the Jacobs fight was in Barclays, though, honestly. Parking and all of that, it's more expensive to travel to Manhattan. Anyway, Jacobs is going to beat Triple G, man. I'm telling everybody this now. Wait, before I even get into that, I want to tell you, after that Garcia interview on Thursday, I picked Ferreira, Usyk, Smith, and I had picked Thurman before that little stuff was going on, and I said Povetkin got to be seen how he is without the PEDs in the system, but he doesn't without PEDs in the system, so there goes that. But I picked Smith also on Thursday's show. Anyway, Bernard Hopkins, I don't really like the classless.
Ho. We got you down. Ho, fam. We got you down for B-Hop.
No, you didn't. I said I got Smith in the upset.
Steven, you better come in here making mistakes.
I was the first caller right after the Robert Garcia. Interview, so you could check it,
Oh, he gonna have to check it because he wrote it. He wrote it here. I'm looking at.
We will withhold Crow, but we will further investigation.
Yeah, like the WBC, we're gonna do a further investigation. We're gonna talk to Steven because he did leave. It says right here, Too Tough, Brooklyn, Crow, B-Hop.
But yeah, y'all check this thing, man, because I picked Smith on the upset. Also, like I said, with B-Hop, with the classlessness, that was kind of crazy because he was doing little dirty things in the fight, like digging his chin into Smith's back and his shoulders and stuff like that when they was clinching. He headbutted him a couple of times.
And Smith didn't complain one time.
He said what?
I'm saying Smith didn't complain one time. You saw the way he was getting headbutted, and the guy didn't complain one time.
No. I'm not saying that he.
No, I'm agreeing with you, caller. I'm agreeing with you.
He took it like a champ, and Smith, you know, he won the fight fair and square. He knocked him out the ring and everything, and then Bernard Hopkins. It wasn't surprising. It's just sad that he did that. It was his last fight. He should have gave the dude props. But I will disagree, Ness. Yo, if they put Joe Smith on the undercard of that Triple G Jacobs fight in New York on the 18th versus Monahan, they both Irish. That's St. Patrick's.
They don't need them, man. They don't need them. They don't need them.
No, I mean,
I agree. They don't need them to sell.
Yo, who's Shawnee Monahan? Who the fuck has he fought? Like, I think it's a fake propaganda news. Like, I can't even. Donovan George is his best opponent.
No, I got you. That's why I said only for that weekend because it's St. Patty's Day weekend. They both Irish. That would probably bring more pay-per-views to people that's Irish for that weekend and all of that other stuff. That's it. I'm not saying that he's a better opponent or anything like that. That's the only time that he could fight Monahan, and that's feasible for him. But,
Too tough, man. I want to thank you, brother. You have become a consistent caller ever since your first time calling in, and your calls only get better. That is good. I mean, listen, if you want to promote, but the thing is, Shawnee Monahan, he can't. Did he want that on what card did he want it? Did he say Golovkin Jacobs or did he say Thurman Garcia?
He said Golovkin Jacobs. He wanted to put on the undercard of that, right?
You can't do that because Monahan is with Top Rank and Smith is with Star. Maybe Smith, but I don't know why.
And I think one other thing. Well, it makes no sense from Joe Smith's perspective because he should maximize his name because he has 2 wins, light years better than anything that Monahan's done. Yes. Secondly, it's also interesting to note those scorecards that it was looking like some hometown cooking for B-Hop if he would have lasted those rounds because those scorecards were some whack shit. They actually one-on-one had B-Hop up like 3 points.
Yeah, I seen that was the referee. I said in the immediate reaction. If you didn't check that out, you can check it out here on YouTube, Stitcher, TuneIn, iTunes, anywhere podcasts are held. We're also on the Android Play Store as well, and their podcast there.
Remember to rate us 5 stars on iTunes.
Going to Stainless all the way in Nashville. Talk to us.
What up, man? TVV.
What up?
Great interview, first of all. Great interview, first of all, man. I gotta say, I appreciate that, man. Usually, you check YouTube, you might see a little bit of stuff on ESPN, but you guys are independent source who is just doing it, through your own and through the support of your fans. That just got me looking at that link y'all left on Patreon. Now to get into this boxing, man, B-Hop, man, it was good to see him fight one more time. To see somebody just knock his ass out the ring, he cool and all that. I respect his legacy in boxing. But he didn't go out like a champ at all, man. And I was really disrespectful, man. Not just to his own legacy, but to Joe Smith and the boxing and what we trying to do with it. As far as that Povetkin, man, they need to just go ahead and suspend that cat. I mean, like, take away all his license, like, indefinite. Because that's his second, maybe third time. How many strikes you need before somebody figure out that you ain't nothing good for the game, man? Really, that's all I got to say on my call, man. As far as the Golovkin Jacobs, man, that's a good one to hear. I think that the Garcia Thurman is a bigger fight, but I think Triple G has a bigger name, and Jacobs has a better story. I mean, the man beat cancer, came back to be a champion again. Looked good against Quillen. Smith, I can't remember the dude he fought against that, but he fought against last, but came back against him, and then came straight for Triple G. I mean, so it's a good story in itself. Me as a boxing fan, and you know, I would rather see the Garcia Thurman over that because I know it's gonna be a good fight. But I know that the Triple G Jacobs fight is gonna be bigger. And like another caller said, man, it really don't matter to me which one. Whatever one y'all throwing the party at is which one I'm gonna be at. So.
Well, that is awesome news, man. But we still want to make it around. You know, the one that is going to bring the most people out. I tend to say that it's Golovkin. He's proven to be consistently selling 20,000 plus. And now to have this fight in New York City with Daniel Jacobs being from New York City, how do they not sell out? You know, I mean, Danny has only done 13,000 once.
Yeah, and as much as I didn't troll Ness. I trolled Ness about the story just because I thought that it gave him bargaining power over Canelo. I mean, over Golovkin. But how they're going to market the fight, they will use the story, which is a good story. Don't make overcoming cancer, becoming a world class level boxer is a great thing. And with a bigger name like Golovkin, and you sprinkle in the story about Danny Jacobs, I think this fight will do pretty well.
I wonder, do they show that highlight of him getting knocked out, since that was an HBO fight?
Probably not.
Well, I've seen it. I've seen it, but they don't show it anymore. That was a couple years ago. I saw it. So.
Yeah, how often have you seen that exactly, caller? Unless you go on the internet, like that fight's hidden. People forget about that.
Let me let him wrap it up, because we kind of hijacked him a bit. Go ahead, Stainless.
Yeah, you know that 10 seconds, man. You know I got to get mine in, man. If you're on iTunes, man, leave that 5-star review. If you're on YouTube, push that thumbs up, share it with your friends. And thank all of y'all, man, at the TBV, man, because y'all doing it, man.
Thank you, Stainless, for tuning in. Thank you for the kind words on the interview, brother. We're going to continue to try and get you guys the biggest possible guests. 812 unknown. Who's this?
Unknown. This is Joe, man.
Joe? Joey? Is it Joey?
Man.
Joey, is that
Joe
Steve?
Smith?
No, it's Joey Cuevas, but Steven had to step out, man. He had to step out. He's got the in-laws, so he's in and out at the moment. Joey, what's going on? The former WBC champ. Joey, why you going around acting like we don't love you around here? We miss you. You the one was MIA.
No, I took an MIA from boxing for a little bit, but hey, man, I'm trying to come back, man. I'm trying to come back. But hey, is Casual back? Ness, or did I miss him? I heard him earlier. Is he gone?
You know these guys pop in and out. Enrique Church, where you at? Me and MD definitely here front and center. Soldiers.
Okay. Now, well, let me just.
Unlike B-Hop, he actually used that term, Ness. You heard that shit, right? He listened to the boxing voice, you know?
No, Ness, I was saying, Tom Loeffler seemed like a cool dude, man. I really like that interview y'all did with him. That's a big fight, though, man. I mean, I'm having doubts that Garcia Thurman's even. I think that fight's going to get moved, Ness. I know they got it scheduled for the 4th, but with this fight coming in, I could see that getting pushed to the summer or something.
Oh my God!
And if you would, yeah,
that would be a blow. Yeah, but that would be a negative blow. Like all the writers, they wouldn't take it as they're moving it for economical reasons. They'll take it as something is not happening. Plus, these fighters they're pretty soon. They've already started training.
Well, it was Tom Loeffler's decision, working with Al Heyman's side, to get that fight and venue sealed and signed. So that's the business, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, guys, as much as I love the Garcia Thurman fight as a fan, you know, Thurman's one of my favorite fighters. I do think Golovkin and Jacobs is just way bigger. I mean, Golovkin alone is going to bring in so many people to come watch him just to meet him, dude. You know, like that weigh-in is going to be crazy. And then it's at Madison Square Garden. I mean, I mean, I love the Barclays Center, but man, the fight at the Garden, man, that's big. I mean, this fight's gonna.
I mean, I have a feeling it's gonna sell out. Definitely, I know the Garden will sell out. I don't know how well it would do on pay-per-view, but if you were gonna plan something, that's probably gonna be where you're gonna have all the stars coming out for that one, man. Not to say people won't come for Thurman Garcia, they will, but this one's just gonna bring. And it's just Golovkin's just got that juice right now, man, and Jacobs too. You know, especially if they do a nice what they call it, not an all access on HBO, but what's their version of that?
24/7.
But if they do something big, yeah, 24/7. But if they do something big on Jacobs and just kind of, I know we all heard about the cancer, fighting cancer, but that's always a good story, man. So they could tie that in and they really hype this up. I mean, this is the one to run with, man. I just don't see Garcia Thurman being there, man. I think it's going to get moved to the summer, or they're going to move it to a different city. Hopefully, Chicago will be dope. They're going to bring fights to Chicago, man.
Yeah, and we've heard about the story about cancer, but ESPN, I don't think Danny Jacobs been on big platforms like ESPN, other platforms that his story hasn't been heard, and maybe him fighting Caleb Truax, no offense to Caleb Truax, is not sexy enough for people to pick up. But if this dude who overcame cancer is fighting this beast from Kazakhstan, that's something that will get people's attention.
I'm interested, man. I'm wondering if this is gonna have some sort of ripple effect, man. I want to see where this Thurman Garcia is gonna land. That's I don't want to sound negative, man, but I just feel like that's the more competitive fight. Like
it is the more. That's inarguable. I'd be hard pressed for somebody to call in confidently and saying that this is a closer fight.
Well, JD, but he's a known Daniel Jacobs fan.
Yeah. Well, everybody has their own.
But I mean, didn't someone else just pick them too? Oh, Info Joe made a bet with you. You guys got another pie bet going on.
Yeah.
Damn, somebody said double up on the TBV parties. Yeah, right. I wish.
You should double up on the thumbs up, and we might consider it.
I know. When we start getting 1,000 per episode, maybe. Let me give you some of this nice and early.
Yeah, get that crow out the way, man. Obviously, Hopkins was in there looking like a chicken leg 51-year-old man. I mean, listen, I love Hopkins, and I'm not disrespecting him, but I'm gonna disrespect him. Like he looked terrible. He had no business being in there. What he should have been doing is trying to work on promoting some fighters within Golden Boy instead of having his old ass out there looking all scary. I mean, he looked like that uncle in the backyard that could hold his own, but he definitely gonna get knocked out by the young boy, and that's exactly what happened. So, I don't take nothing he said during the build up to the fight personal. It's politics and his business, but you got to think of something else better to do. Definitely. What does it say about Joe Smith? I think, Joe Smith is in a pretty good position within the division because, he could take a fight. I don't know. Maybe he holds out for an Adonis Stevenson. If Adonis Stevenson's camp is looking to make what they consider to be an easy fight, somebody that beat from far, they got a common opponent. Maybe that makes a little bit of sense.
He fought Top Dog off a much less sexy win.
Yeah, Stevenson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the light heavyweight. I mean, besides Stevenson, hey, put him in there against Kovalov. Go ahead and do Kovalev and Smith right before you do the war rematch. Even, I think he's got a lot to do. But that Monahan move, I don't know. Unless Max Kellerman is promoting Shawnee Monahan, I don't even know where that came from.
Max Kellerman saying some stupid shit. He was talking about LA being the fight capital of the world in front of 3,000 people in that little stadium. Like, come on, man, what the fuck?
Yeah, he was tripping last night, man. But I think Garcia and Thurman, if it's in Brooklyn, it's got to be in Brooklyn. That would be an awesome fight. And I mean, I'm in Jersey, so I'm going to from anyway, and the appreciation night. So it don't even matter to me. I ain't missing another one.
Well, that's definitely good news. But you said Garcia Thurman's the bigger fight, in your opinion.
Yeah, definitely. Because you got two fighters that are fighting for supremacy in a live division. And even when they win that fight, then we still talking about, well, what if Thurman and what if, this. So I think that's, to me, that's the live, after Golovkin and Jacobs, it's like, then what? We waiting on Saunders? We waiting on Canelo?
Charlo? Yeah, Charlo, Andrade. Like, I think the middleweight division, I think, is overlooked, especially because a lot of those guys at 154 are big. So we'll see it, I think a lot of people are staying away from the middleweight division because of Golovkin. But that's my opinion.
We're going out to Randy in MD's neck of the woods. Talk to us.
Hello, can y'all hear me?
Loud and clear, brother.
First of all, I think they should have that fight over here in Orlando. I don't know what y'all think about that.
I love it. Untapped market, a lot of Puerto Rican fans, and it's not that far from Tampa.
Yeah. Because the reason for it is because, there's a lot of Puerto Ricans, and, Thurman, he's from here, from Florida and stuff like that. So, I don't know, I feel like it would make a buzz. And to be honest, not many Puerto Ricans over here really speak Spanish, at least the ones I know, because I live, obviously, in Orlando. But the ones that live over here don't really, know Spanish like that. And actually, I have a lot of Puerto Rican friends that really like Danny, surprisingly. They actually know who Danny is. But I don't know. But, yeah, I think that's a bigger fight out of the two fights. And if you guys are going to have a little TVV appreciation night, I think y'all should have it at the Keith Thurman fight, wherever it's at. And that's about it. And on Hopkins and what's his called? What's that dude's name? Joe Smith? That shit was a sad fight, man. I really felt bad for Hopkins, man. That was really hard for me to watch. I didn't like his old ass getting beat up in there. The last dude said, he was on chicken legs. So I don't know, but that's about it. That's my call right there.
All right, Brandy. Well, thank you for calling in. We got 801 unknown numbers. This your first time calling in, my friend? 801. 801. You just listening? No problem. Going on to
Before we go to the next caller, you got to give credit to Bernard Hopkins' chin, because even after getting knocked out of the ring, having his head smacked in the fucking concrete, it didn't look like he went to sleep, right? His eyes maybe closed for 1 second. It was crazy.
Yeah, he's got a hell of a head and chin. Hurricane Ray, let me tell you what's today.
Yo, what's up, fellas? What's up, MD?
Yo, what up, Hurricane Ray? You know what's today?
Good? Yeah, I know, man. Hurry up and serve me that. Yo, man, I thought B-Hop was going to pull it off, but, man, if B-Hop would have been a little bit younger, man, he was landing some shots, even at his old age. He landed some good shots square on the chin, but, he didn't have enough. I guess his feet weren't there. His legs weren't there anymore. But, man, I can't believe he went out like that, man. But, being with all set when it's up.
90 seconds.
Champ, man, he's out there saying that his ankle got twisted. How the hell is his ankle going to get twisted in the middle of the air when he flew out the ring and landed head first? Anyways, that's expected from B-Hop, man. Well, it's the last of one of the greatest middleweights that we've seen so far. Definite Hall of Famer. I respect his career. He had a long career. And as far as the Jacobs and Triple G, man, that's going to be a great fight.
60 seconds.
Triple G knocking him out, but it's going to be a good fight because it puts him back in the media limelight where he's supposed to be, and then it gives him another shot to call out all these boys that ducking him, man. So thank you for the show. Appreciate y'all, and see y'all on next show.
Hurricane Ray, thank you for calling in, my friend. Good call, as always. Good call. Let me see here. We got another 801. 801, we're going to try you again. What's going on? You ready? 801. 801.
Tonight allows people a release
10
for all
seconds.
the hatred that they keep up inside them.
JP on the double check-in. What's up? JP? Uh-oh. Let me see something here. Monster Piece, are you there? Yeah.
I'm here.
Okay, we was just making sure that the lines are there. These guys, I guess they got cheap phones. I know someone who doesn't. Well, sometimes he does, actually.
Don't even respect your ass. That's why it's time for the doctor to check your ass, nigga.
Fight Doctor in the house. I'm on Rick James status as always. What's going on, gentlemen?
Fight Doc, what's the bigger fight? Golovkin Jacobs or Garcia Thurman?
Hard to say. Difficult to say. I would think. Well, I can tell you which. Look, I can tell you which fight is going to be seen by a bigger viewing audience, and that's Garcia Thurman. Okay. In terms of their relevancy, they're both about equally relevant because you're looking at like top 5 middleweights and top 5 welterweights. Yeah, it's, you know, they hold about the same significance in terms of marketability. I figure Garcia Thurman and Golovkin Jacobs, you're talking about fighters who are about, you know, equal in marketability. So, yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, all it comes down to this. Golovkin is not a pay-per-view draw. Neither is Jacobs. Neither is Garcia. Neither is Thurman. So, Garcia Thurman, that's going to be on Showtime. Golovkin Jacobs, that's going to be on pay-per-view. So, I know which fight is going to get the higher exposure. Okay? I know which fight is going to get seen by a bigger audience.
That's not necessarily true.
And
That's not necessarily true. That is not necessarily true.
Well, listen.
Have you seen the Showtime numbers recently?
Here we go with.
No, I just want to talk facts instead of you talking your hatred. It's not necessarily true.
Listen, wait. Listen, I tell you what. You're right. It's not necessarily true, but let's just go on to what we have in front of us, the cold hard numbers, instead of the nonsense that you're talking. Okay. Now, Golovkin in his last and only pay-per-view.
150,000.
150,000 pay-per-view.
150,000.
Your source, please.
Well, your source, please. Your source, please.
My source is as credible as your source, sir. Okay.
Okay. So I'm using my source since I'm in the show, and you're just a caller. Continue.
The fight sold somewhere between 97,000 and 150,000 pay-per-views. Okay.
So let's say 130 or 125. Let's split it in half.
Okay, we can sell on 125,000 pay-per-views. Okay. How many people saw Thurman Porter?
It was on, I think, regular television. You said this is Showtime. For example, the last fight on Showtime did 325,000. Now, a pay-per-view buy is not a viewership. Let me educate you. A pay-per-view buy is a buy. When the TV does metrics, they evaluate viewership. But you can continue with your propaganda.
At the end of the day, even if Garcia Thurman is only seen in 325,000 households, which it'll be probably 2 to 3 times that amount at least. That's 325 is still more.
Because you think that David Lemieux and Danny Jacobs are the same name. Come on, Fight Doctor. Get out of here with that bullshit.
Fight Doctor, wait a minute. So wait a minute, Fight Doctor. Your time is up now.
He's using David Lemieux numbers to assume that they're going to do the same.
Hold on. It's okay. Fight Doctor, your time's up. So now we just want to question you a little bit. You called Golovkin for so long, you're notoriously calling him Bum Lufkin. Does that mean you're officially picking Jacobs?
Yes, I'm picking Jacobs to win the fight.
You don't know shit about boxing.
Well, here's what I do know. That Jacobs KO1 over Quillen is better than any single win on Bum Lufkin's resume. Period.
Yep. And Danny Jacobs' knockout loss to Prague was worse than any Golovkin's loss, which is 0.
I'm not arguing with you. At the end of the day, Jacobs.
He got dropped by Sergio Mora, Fight Doctor. I'm sorry, his skin color is not what you like, but he's gonna lose. And you don't know shit about boxing, and you should stop being so racist, and you might know more shit about boxing.
Okay, well, we'll see. The fight happens in March if Golovkin doesn't pull out, which is a possibility. Okay.
And wait, one thing, and let him answer this. Since you're picking Daniel Jacobs to be your Golovkin, can you at least agree that if he beats your Golovkin, that you can no longer call him Golovkin?
That wouldn't make sense because but wait a minute, if Jacobs beats you got me called. Stop that. If Jacobs beats Golovkin, you won't still call him Golovkin, would you? Because then you'd be discrediting Jacobs.
Well, listen, at the end of the day, for me to give him some credit, he has to beat Jacobs. Now, I give him credit for fighting Jacobs, yes. But until he actually beats somebody, he's Golovkin because he loves
would
to
you
beat up
give
on bum.
credit?
And if he loses,
no. But would you? But listen to me. You're not answering the question. Would you still call him Golovkin if he loses to Jacobs?
Yes, I would. He would still be Golovkin if he loses, because if he loses to Jacobs, the only thing that's been proven is that he likes to beat up on bums. Because if he loses, he would not have beat up on a bum. He would have lost to the superior fighter.
Okay, but now, wouldn't that be Jacobs' biggest win on his resume?
Sure thing, no problem.
Okay, so how could he be a bum and it's the biggest win on his resume?
I'm not taking away from his stature in the middleweight division. I'm not taking away from the fact that he can be considered the best middleweight in the world. Can be considered the best middleweight in the world. I'm not taking away from that at all. However, the facts are his resume is that of a prospect. The man has beaten nobody with a string of tomato cans.
Listen, we're gonna go ahead and let you go.
1 second. If you guys want to hear the Fight Doctor's true opinions about certain fighters, go back and listen to the show after Terrence Crawford beat Victor Postal. So I just want you guys to hear that because I have good memory.
Listen, I tried to give the Fight Doctor different opportunities, but it doesn't make any sense, Fight Doctor, for you to say that he would still be a bum, and then he would also how could he simultaneously still be Golovkin but still be Jacobs?
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I think, and you both agree, we both favor Golovkin. And if Golovkin wins, which we think that is going to happen, then if the Fight Doctor keeps calling Golovkin, he would even look dumber than he looks now.
Yeah, no, he can't, because then Jacobs gets no credit for beating him. I mean, weird. Listen, if you're watching this on YouTube and in the present,
yes, we cornered him. I cornered him. He might never call Golovkin again. Thank God.
Yeah, but they're saying in the chat that that you tagged me in and I hit him with the chair off the top turnbuckle.
People know I don't need you to defend my own views.
They should know that. Listen, if you're watching this in the future, present, past, hit that thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs up button because we had the promoter of Gennady Golovkin. Without Tom Loeffler, this fight would not happen. Tom Loeffler is one of those soldier promoters that doesn't mind dealing with everyone. Hit that thumbs up button for that. Hit that thumbs up button for that great duel that we continue to have between MD and the Fight Doctor. Battle of the PhDs. Who's the bigger hater? Who's the bigger fanatic? No one will know. Listen, I just want to say I want to thank everyone that tuned in. Obviously, MD. I also want to thank you for keeping the balance. You know, keeping the balance.
You're welcome.
Everybody asking for that Latin Goonies hat. You know where to get it, DSG. But this is not Latin Goonies. This Deep Waters. This my other boys from Cyrus XM, Ak and Barack. You know, doing big things over there with thisis50.com and Cyrus XM. They gave me this when I was on Cyrus. But the Latin Goonies one, like, obviously you can get them right from Danny's website. I would get the Angel one. You see my Angel one yesterday. That's the official tissue one. Listen, leave your comments in the comment section below. I want to know, Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, or Daniel Jacobs, Gennady Golovkin, which is the bigger fight? Which one is the one that we need to surround our event? I don't know. Andre, you're a mastermind. Where do we go?
I think we have to define bigger fight, though. Bigger fight to us as a Boxing Voice community? Is that where you're defining a bigger fight?
Bigger fight in general, right? Because, listen,
it's hard to define.
How is it not the bigger fight when GGG is going to sell 21,000 in Madison Square?
You don't want the truth? I just said it again. is because Al Heyman hasn't promoted a goddamn motherfucking fighter. Hasn't promoted one fighter, Ness. Sorry. The truth hurts. I'm sorry. It's the truth.
I don't know what you mean.
Yes, it is.
His fighters have gotten.
Golovkin probably has more Twitter followers than Danny Jacobs and Keith Thurman put together.
Golovkin could have bought him too.
Yeah?
Yeah? He couldn't have bought him?
No.
Why
Look
not?
at the likes and retweets. Let's do a metric
Analysis. How about you analyze it, bring that information back?
I don't got time for that shit.
Show, or one of our spontaneous shows. Speaking of spontaneous show, make sure you subscribe to us right here on YouTube, because you will get a notification, little ping on the bell anytime that we go live, which we go live a lot. I mean, Friday or Thursday, I think we had 4. Then Tuesday, we had another 4. Yeah, and I mean 4 episodes in one day, because when news breaks, we like to be all on top of it. So definitely subscribe to the channel. Hit that thumbs up button. I am your host, Ness GTO. Find me on Instagram and Twitter at Ness GTO, and you can find a good doctor at.
You can find me at BoxingMD1. And again, Al Heyman might not be a promoter, but like, come on, let's not fucking split hairs here, okay?
Whatever that means. Later.